Welcome to GTV ANZ, the gaming channel created by Ubisoft. Every Tuesday and Friday on YouTube, we'll be doing fast plays, game challenges, 1v1 face-offs, and so much more. You happy?
When did we get a dog?
That's a good question.
Welcome back to Reload here. It's been a bit of a break for Reload and for OCN while the season or the stage has concluded. OCL has now also wrapped up for stage 3, but we still have season finals of both of them plus promo relegations this coming weekend. That's what we're talking about here today. So we've got the experts in. I'm Dev. We got Zenox and Guzz. They're the normies. They're always here. Can't get rid of him. We fortunately could get rid of Manic. Apparently he's actually feeling unwell, so I hope he's feeling bullshit. Yeah, well, the two guys that have been brought on new.
Oh shit, we got front page. Let's go. Hey everyone.
Because we don't have any advertisements, mate.
My name is Zenox.
Now Zenox
Follow me at Zenox Casts, just right there. Hi all at the front page. Don't
I
click
already
away.
introduced you, mate. Let's let you guys have the limelight. Cthulhu, Bluepanda, welcome. How you feeling?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
I was kind of keen to shit on Mannix, but I think he saw, as soon as he saw my name popping up, he knew that there was some vengeance coming as well.
Yeah, I guess that's why he backed out. Cthulhu, it's been a long time since we've done a podcast together, bit of a throwback.
Yes.
Happy to talk about some OCL?
Yeah, look, been a few exciting things coming up in OCL, so happy to talk about them. And yeah, look, we're just keen to do a bit of a maybe cheeky throwback from back in the Talking Siege days.
Yeah, I'm very keen, very keen. So we've got a couple things we're going to chat through tonight. We're going to get to know you guys a little bit, hopefully. We're going to do a bit of a game, which I haven't told you guys exactly what it is, but we are going to crown the caster champion. Fortunately, Rob isn't here. And you know what? I've just decided we'll give an R6 credit pack to whoever wins that, just to make you guys actually put a little bit of effort in. 1,200 R6 credits. You know, today is the last day of the battle pass, so if you haven't got yourself a premium...
If you ask what platform you want the code to be in, Dev, I will show.
I'll have mine on Nintendo Switch, please.
All right, well, let's see if I can handle that. But yes, later on we're going to be chatting about OCL. We're going to recap every stage. You know, honestly, I wasn't following OCL as close as I should have been, so we're going to get the lowdown of that. We're going to round that off stage 1, 2, 3, look at where the season left off and the two teams that will be playing in those relegations. Then we're going to do the same thing for OCN, go through stage 1, 2, 3, look at how it holistically turned out. The two teams at the bottom, they're going to face those top teams. We're going to chat about those relegations, what players to watch out for, do a little bit of predictions, and of course, throughout the whole time, we are going to be doing giveaways. I wouldn't let the casters have some R6 credits if you guys watching couldn't have some as well. So we're going to be doing it every maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, basically whenever we finish a segment. So if you stick around in the chat, make sure you type the keyword, which I believe I have set the keyword to be Relegations Weekend. Type ! Giveaway and you're going to see
what?
Wait,
that's a key sentence.
That's 2 words.
It's a key phrase, actually.
I think it's
why don't we make it next time?
No one's going to be able to spell that properly.
No,
Well,
next time it needs to be the key paragraph.
Yeah, no, we'll get there eventually.
Yes.
We will get there eventually.
I don't want to curse things, Dev, but the camera quality on the stream is actually looking really good today. So I don't know what you've done, but it's actually quite clean.
What I have done, this is the one thing I was going to say as a bit of a disclaimer, and I apologize for the music being a bit loud at the start. This is my first time broadcasting from my new computer.
Is that a flex?
Yes, it is. So
Whoa,
I'm very surprised to see that we have...
No advertisement. No advertising.
Don't say the brand of it.
You're the one who was plugging the wrong sponsor on stream on Saturday, so you don't have a say in this, mate. I got a new laptop. It's from Unbrand that I'm not going to mention, and I'm very glad that it is seemingly working so far. But let's get to know Blue and Cthulhu. Let's start with you, Blue. Look, you've come through. You've been doing OCL. Tell me, how'd you get into that?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I started beginning of last year in Siege, went nose to the grindstone with lockdown, so I think I was casting 2, 3, even 4 times a week between ANZ, NA, and EU at one point. So I've just busted my way through that. Got the gig at the beginning of the year and haven't looked back.
Yeah, great. And Cthulhu, you're a bit of an OG, more so than I think just about everyone here, including myself. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your story?
Look, I'll try to keep it as relatively short as I can, but it's still probably going to end up being a long story. But essentially, started off back at I think year 2 of uni with the whole reasoning of, well, everyone else is doing. The heck am I like? How am I worse? And so yeah, started doing that. Started doing CG ladder tournaments. Back when names
Gotta
like
be an OG
Obsidian,
to know what CG ladder was.
yeah, like so the names like Obsidian, XAUX, Lemon Squeezy, when Maelstrom was like the absolute death stack in casual and in ranked, and people would flat out just dodge that. And yeah, got into first SEA Pro League, then ANZ Pro League, got dropped, came back, did 6 Masters as well in 2018 at PAX Melbourne. Yeah, did a bunch of like LPL stuff as well prior to it becoming OCL, and this year came back to casting OCL for stage 2 and 3, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's been great. I know a lot of people have been watching your broadcasts, the two of you. You've been doing bottom casts as well. Don't really know what that is or how to describe it, but it is something.
Yeah, there's a whole different story actually about bottom casts, which ended up forming, I think, was for the OCL stage 3 qualifiers, because given that Overt dropped out, we needed to find one more team, and so we decided to just do it for kind of the shits and gigs. Tried to just got myself, Blue and Proto on board, and we just kind of did in a TriCast.
And Nuttery behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Disrespect the man who makes
no,
it
no, no, as in the casting side, and obviously Jumpstream as well was there for the memes. And at some point, I think the whole idea came about initially because I started just mid round reading Bottom Gear memes, which is like essentially a meme version of Top Gear, and kind of from there on, bottom casts kind of came to fruition through the memes of Jumpstream, and kind of that's the whole name that was born with it. And it's just we under that name we did the whole pre-match interviews for the whole stage 3.
Yeah, and I know you guys have really been helping bring OCL to the forefront. Panda, you've been all across the stats. That's kind of been your thing, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I've been doing it all 3 stages so far. I've got a few matches to go to finish off stage 3 and trying to get that done before the actual promo relegations tournament, so the teams can have that ready for them. But it's been a bit of a grind.
Yeah, I bet. So look, now that we know everyone's a caster,
so I basically got involved midway through last year, and since then I've just been.
Nobody cares, mate. Nobody gives a shit.
Absolute
Nobody gives a shit.
Siege. Fortunately, I got invited to do 6.
Just mute him.
Since then, it's been all downhill.
I actually can mute him. It's actually.
I know. Just do it. Just do it.
I might if he runs his mouth too much again. I might.
I'm sure man doesn't want to come back. Like,
well, have you finished your dinner yet, Zenox? Finally.
I did. Yeah, it's all good. All done. All good.
What was
Mrs. hooked me up.
Was it tasty?
A little bit of bread, a little bit of hummus, tomato, cucumber. The good shit. The good shit.
The good shit.
Lovely.
It's not even. It's not even sponsored either. I mean, you can't
treats you well, mate.
You can't really sponsor tomatoes, I mean, you can.
I'm sure that you can, but yeah, I'm happy to leave that out.
We'll look at that for next year.
Hey, I grow my own lemons in my backyard, so does that get sponsored by me?
You or does the missus?
Well, the missus, but that's me as well. Jonesy in chat says we care. Zenox is the best. So thank you, Jonesy. Appreciate that, buddy.
You are gonna have to prove that, mate, when we get into this. So you think you can cast? I think that's a pretty good segue. I'm gonna try something a little bit new, a little bit different. Haven't done this one before, so. Might not work. It might work. How good is the feed you guys are watching right now on Discord? Can you see that pretty well?
I mean,
when it starts moving around, it might be a bit sus.
And you read the text.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
That's what really matters. That's the most important part. So hopefully that works. So what we're going to do, we're going to play a bit of a game. I've got a teleprompter. So for those who don't know, a teleprompter is something that a lot of TV presenters, we fortunately don't, because we're doing a lot of unscripted broadcasting, but often when broadcasting is scripted, a teleprompter will say exactly what the presenter has to say. We're not used to using them, but I'm going to throw you guys under the bus and see how you guys go. I've written out some predetermined kind of casting lines. Yeah, basically we're going to get the chat to decide who did the best job. So I want chat watching. We're going to get a poll up to vote on who did it the best. And everyone's going to take their turns.
Boy.
I've got 4 separate things. Like, I'm not going to make you all do the same thing, because then, the people who go last would have an advantage. You could argue some are more difficult than others. I reckon they're pretty even. Tried my best when I whipped them up in half an hour earlier today. So, who wants to go first? Anyone want to volunteer?
I think Bluepanda should go first.
Xenox has already said that he's just so good. Like, why not?
Blue sounds really keen.
I think Blue's
gonna
keen.
double down with. My
And
mate
honestly,
Jake.
I'll just say here, and I'll speak on behalf of Guzz as well. But here at the Reload, we like to treat our guests. So I very much would love to see Blue go first. Cthulhu, do you think Blue should go first?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've seen previous iterations of Reloaded, and Manic, he's not stopped with the shit talk so far. That's why I was glad that he wasn't here today. I was ready.
Manic is basically just like a permanent guest that just doesn't go away.
I'll set the dispute. I'll go first.
All right, here we go.
I like that. He's got some balls.
Daring man.
I respect that.
So how we're going to do it is the teleprompter is going to scroll. It's not going to slow down when you slow down, so you've got to keep up. You've got to do your best. So
there we go. Much better.
So look, we're going to give it a crack here.
So it's the teleprompter that is down in the bottom, the rolling text, yeah?
No. It's
That's called a ticker, mate. We have those on the big broadcasts.
It's a ticker. So
Yeah.
this is your teleprompter. Can you see this?
Yes.
All right. So it's going to start scrolling. You get to read this for free. Read it over a couple times because it's not going to stay on for screen very long. And when we're ready to go, I'm going to start it. So how this works, the goal is for you to do that as clearly as possible and to catch up. Now, I've put it on a pretty fast speed. When I was practicing, I could get all of them, though, at this speed. It is quite fast, though, and if you fumble, you will fall. So you have to, if you fumble, you just have to keep going. You just have to keep pushing through, otherwise you're going to get lost. Fluency, as much as possible, is the goal here. Are you ready, Cthulhu?
Yeah, go on.
All right. Ready? Go.
Welcome to So You Think You Can Cast, the first ever game show where we will be determining once and for all who is the best undisputed Rainbow Six Siege caster in the Oceanic region. I have no issues whatsoever keeping up with the fast-paced gameplay of our Oceanic Rainbow Six players, so be it OCN, OCL, XP Women's League, or any other Rainbow Six esports competition in our region. My play-by-play is untouchable, my analysis is on point, and my storylining is so prolific that I would make your mother cry. Don't at me, kid, because I am the pinnacle.
Are you sure you that, Dev? That sounds like something straight out of Zenox's diary.
Mate, they're all like this. They're all like this. Okay. I am keen for this. Look, now I think you did have the hardest job, Cthulhu, in that you went first. But yeah, no, really solid effort there, mate. Who's up next?
Yeah, I'll take this one. I think we're
gonna get some chops out today. Or...
We'll do some OCL
please.
into OCN into OCL into OCN.
We're gonna get the pointing and the. Yeah, come on, get into it. I want to see it. Come on.
Honestly, it's been a long weekend, right? So
we've really got something left in the take. Come on.
Nah.
All right.
We'll see where the thing takes us.
Good. I'm keen for it. So this is the start of your one.
What is this?
No, it's not a copy pasta. It might bear resemblance to copy pastas, but it is not it.
This looks like a copy pasta.
It's heavily inspired by copy pastas. Are you ready, Zenox?
Not really.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
So you reckon you can cast like the greats, like Kickstar or Parker? Did I mention we're mates? I can turn words into phrases that would be etched in stone. If I went to Invitational, I'd make it my home. Casting 2 is as easy as Jigsaw clutching a 1v3. I appreciate you trying, but leave it to the pros. When I'm on broadcast, everybody knows you're watching the best in OCE, and it wouldn't be without me. So while you think you can cast, I think you'll come last. Turn around, mate. You're out the door fast.
That's a solid effort, mate.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
Mic drop. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that was actually probably way easier than the one that Cthulhu had to do. That seems like twice as slow. Yeah, you gotta speed that one up, mate. Come on.
They were all at the same speed at 5.
There's no way. That seemed way slower.
Well, I can make it harder if you want. For the next person. All
Yeah,
right.
I
So,
mean,
You
honestly,
can double it. You can double it.
oh mate, no,
double
there
it.
is no way I would double
Crank
it.
it.
You could crank it up a little bit though if you wanted to.
I mean, I tried 6 and I couldn't do 6.
All right, we'll do 6. Wait, what was that? What was that?
That was 5.
That was 5.
All right,
I
well,
thought-
yeah, 6.
It's
Six
a
me up,
scale of
come on.
1 to 9. So I tried, I did 5 and it was like a little bit too easy, and then I did 6 and it was hard. So I was like,
Yeah, no.
I'd rather it be too
Chuck it on-
easy than
chuck
too
it on
hard.
six.
Chat says go to
Yeah.
200%.
We'll
do
sub
it.
in Guzz.
We'll do
Get
six.
Guzz in there. Chuck it
Okay,
on a 6.
go-
I mean,
You
Zenox
want the
knows,
six,
Zenox
guys?
knows my play-by-play. It's pretty
Yeah.
incredible. So
It's insane, honestly.
I'm not a play-by-play caster, so I should fail this.
All right, ready for number 6 then, Guzz?
Yeah, ready for
All right.
anything really.
I'll give you a second. You can just read because the top line does not stay there very long. Guzz, 1 times SI, 0 times Lancaster. Are you ready?
Yeah, that's
mate?
correct. That's fine. All right, let's go.
Ready, set, go.
Now that it's my turn, I feel it's important to point out that you can scream in chat, but you'll never weave words of wisdom wise, and then I can spit Rainbow Six like Tachanka bars. I've been casting this game into a good magic trick. I know every player that makes me use my command of the English language is utterly extensive, like the fragments of worthy Sweden must be. This is absolutely cooked. I'm sure you'd
I
agree.
told you,
skillfully
mate!
commentate.
I told
is
you!
that?
I told
That
you
was
6
actually-
is too
that was
hard,
actually
bro.
about double.
You're
That
there
was actually
like
about
5
double.
is too easy. 6, no,
Jesus.
6 is too hard. I'm gonna give it to you
Right, hang
again
on.
on 5,
Can
alright?
Can I give that one go on 6? I'm actually like that looks pretty.
You can go afterwards, alright?
If
But
you
we need
make
to
one
finish
stumble,
Guzz,
you're done.
Exactly, like I said. All right, guys, you've already had 1 practice go. Now
This is
you're
the
on
start, let's
5,
go.
so it's going to be a bit easier because you've seen it before. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Wait, am I going again?
Yeah, you
oh,
are,
I thought
Guzz.
Zenox was
Come
going.
on,
Oh,
mate.
sorry. Okay.
Guzz,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry. Okay, just go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Now that it's my turn, I feel it's important to point out that you can scream and shout, but you'll never weave words of wisdom wiser than I can spit Rainbow Six bars like Tachanka spits fire. I've been casting this game before you could Maverick Trick. I know every player and what makes them tick. My command of the English language is this is so fucking slow, utterly extensive, like the frag power of worthy who stay in Sweden must be expensive. Now, lastly, I will simply state, I'm sure you agree, I can skillfully commentate.
It did go from one extreme to the other, didn't it?
It's so much slower. It's
I don't know.
like
I don't know
half.
who designed that slider of 5 to 6.
It's just some free website.
Where's the 5.5?
Can you get a 5.5?
It's 5 or 6, mate. Look, Panda, I'm gonna give you the choice here. Which one do you want to go, 5 or 6?
Look, shit, we'll give 6 a go. We'll give it a go.
Yeah, you don't want to look like you're intimidated, but you also don't want to make a fool of yourself. I can see the decision making there.
I make a fool of myself every day on broadcast, so this is nothing new.
All right, so here we go. This is the 4th segment of the casting. I mean, I started and I was just like typing words, and then I started to make some of it rhyme, and then I was like, is this a rap now? No, not quite. But hey, if you can do it as showy as possible, I'm sure that'll win the votes. Are you ready, Panda?
As I'll ever be.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Looks like it's GG and the winner is me. Those last 3 attempts were lousy. Oh no, yeah. This is
I
too much.
told you, mate. 6 is hard.
That's cool.
Aussie threw me off. I was
6 is hard,
the 3
bro.
most nasty casting attempts.
Here we go.
Alright.
I'll have a go.
We need Bluepanda to finish up first, all right? And then we can have second goes
Alright.
on 6, all right? Panda, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Looks like it's GG and the winner is me. Those with the oh my lord, that T keeps throwing me off, man.
Right, one more go. 3,
Right, one
2,
more.
1, go.
Looks like it's GG and the winner is me. Those were the 3 most lousy casting attempts I've heard since Deb swore on broadcast. If you listen closely now, you might learn something because I spit nothing but facts when it's my shot on the mic. So you might as well now just hop back on your bike. I cast the clutches that make Twitch spam. I'll cast Rufflecops to their grand final. Sorry, no, I've thrown it. I've thrown myself. It's all in the bin.
All right, Zenox, you want to have a go on 6?
Let me
This is a tough
Okay,
one.
can I just confirm? Is that meant to be like lousy or lousty? I've never seen that.
Lousy. That's a typo. Yeah, whoops.
Yeah.
1 sec, I'll fix
Just
that typo. I'll fix the typo. I did proofread
Blue
these,
Panda.
but
He
clearly
got-
not very much.
He got stuck on the T there. He got stuck.
Oh, that's rough, man. I see. Look. Do we give you one more go then, Panda?
Oh no, the tilt's already there. 3 is
Tilt is in. It's well and truly set in.
There's no recovering. We're down 3-0 in rank. There's no coming back.
All right, Zenox, do you want it on 6 then?
We'll give it one go on 6. I'm not promising this is going to be great. But
Right, how about this?
Get the arms out.
Yeah, I want to see some chops, all right? I want to see some chops.
Come on, brother.
I can't really chop because I've got the this on.
Oh,
So
yeah,
just do
right.
like your little pokes, like you were doing yesterday. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, those are the ones.
Right, Zenox, I think I have an idea to make it a little bit more possible for you. So you're going to start, and I'm going to wait 1 second before I hit spacebar. So you'll probably, hopefully, be near the bottom of the page before it actually starts moving. All right?
Okay. All right. Let's go.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Looks like it's GG and the winner is me. Those were the 3 most lousy casting attempts I've heard since devs were on broadcast. If you listen closely now, you might learn something because I spit nothing but facts when it's my shot on the bike. You might as well now just hop on the bike. I'll cast the clutches that make Twitch chat spam. I'll cast Rufflecopter to their grand total 1 fan. Play-by-play, color, narrative, and pace. Just try and catch them, still winning the race.
Yes!
Wasn't bad. It's pretty close.
That's hard.
It is hard, isn't it?
It's so fast.
I was feeling it slipping. And once you feel it slip, that's it. You're on that downward, downhill.
I think I can talk faster when I'm not reading something.
It's actually
having to read.
Anyone watching, by the way, it is 10 times easier not actually doing it on a teleprompter.
It is, yeah, it is not easy.
Damn.
All right, the poll is up, guys. So let us know who casted the best. Was it Cthulhu, Zenox, Guzz, or Bluepanda?
My platform is on
I'd
PC
like to,
Dev.
I'd like
You
to
can just
point
send
out
it
as
to me
well
on Discord.
for the audience, everyone else but me got the second try.
Yeah, Cthulhu, you want to have another
I did
go?
it off the bat. No, I'm happy with my first attempt.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I made it off
own
the first
that,
try.
man.
Everyone else needed the second and third.
Does anyone want to have another go on 6?
I'll stick to color.
Dev, surely you come in and give us a
Okay,
go.
which one should I go for? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Which
We'll
part?
do the last one. We'll do the last one because that's
all
what we
right.
just
Well,
did.
that's nice and easy because that's already up. All right, on 6. All right. I'm gonna because I have to hit spacebar, so I'll wait until I get to those and then I'll hit spacebar. All right. Looks like it's GG and the winner is me. Those were the 3 most lousy casting attempts I've heard since devs were on broadcast. If you listen closely now, you might learn something because I spit nothing but facts when it's my shot on the mic. So you might as well now just hop on your bike. I'll cast classes that made Twitch chat spam. I'll cast Rufflecopter to their grade total 1 fan. Play color narrative and pace. Just try and catch me. I'm still winning the race.
Not bad. Well done, Dev. That was fire.
You do. Oh, get caught and you just get the tilt sets in.
Once you get caught even one little bit, you're on that little hill going down.
And it's not even like a missed word, but just like you say a consonant that isn't there or something.
Yeah, or you could just completely mispronounce Rufflecopter.
It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, I definitely threw you under the bus there, Panda. My bad.
CN casters.
I found a couple of the typos, but clearly not that one.
Who finished last in the poll? Sorry, I was a bit distracted.
I mean,
You and me, Guzz.
You did.
The poll's still going. Actually, I put it on for 3 minutes.
No, it's us now. Someone voted for me. Whoever they are, they're trolling. They want
I
out back to
was going to make the joke before whoever finishes last doesn't cast next year, so I guess I'm fucked.
I did say that there would be 1,200 R6 credits to the winner. Zenox, do you play the game enough to make use of those 1,200 R6 credits?
I probably played it more than you.
What's the currency in PUBG? Is there like a PUBG token that you can get?
I actually play Rainbow more than PUBG over the last 2-3 years.
Give him a RuneScape bond. Give him 2 weeks of membership.
I actually reckon
I'll take that.
I'll give you the PS4 code and you can give it to the missus. I know she probably plays more Rainbow Six than the rest of us combined.
No, she stopped playing a little bit now because she's back at work.
Oh, it's a shame.
That was a lockdown thing. Well, you know,
I'm sure she'll have
just normal people work 9-to-5 jobs.
Yeah, none of us.
None of us.
I don't know what that is.
None of us. Yeah.
I'm not normal.
All right,
there
the
it
poll
goes.
has ended and Zenox has won. I think it was well deserved.
Honestly, I will say
Tough
well
start.
done to all of you, especially the boys that gave it a crack on 6. Full effort, Cthulhu. You know, you did it on 5, but you didn't even give the 6 a go. Come on.
Well, Cthulhu, to be fair,
for
Cthulhu,
reference,
you did it
mine
first
was
when,
fastest.
like, everyone else had a chance to see someone else do it first. And I think that definitely helped, like, get you in, oh, this is what it's going to be like. This is how fast it is. So, credit to you.
If it was Russian, he would have beaten all of us. I'm just saying.
Yeah, oh, that's true.
I would have been keen to try this in Russian. I'll say that
Mate,
for the
if
next
you
chance
can,
whenever.
I can't write it in Russian, so I'm afraid that
Just
slightly
Google
limits,
translate that bitch.
does
Translate
slightly
it.
limit what we've got. available there. All right, look, let's start talking about the real reason we're here, and it is OCN and OCL. You boys are the experts on OCL. That's where we're going to start. But first, we are going to go and watch some of the highlights as selected by Bluepanda of the OCL 2021 season. So we'll catch you after that.
Window Kyra still watching that cross from CCTV. They are respecting the potential for some upset plays coming here out of Fury, but Kaken kicks things off with a kill onto Geordie. Eddie! No way! He punches out the pog map with the 180 into killing President. Down below, if he can kill out Ed here, he can contest with a Nitro Cell, and it's a big frag to be finding King Grills. He's gonna punch it out, shoots one, shoots two as well. They lose Pac-Man, but King Grills, with the aggressive push into the bomb site, he's got control of the diffuser as well. What can he do here? Edpan shoots it through the desk, ball bang, King Grills finds one, he needs one more!
There's the swing, there's the E1D, he could play around this.
He's going to spot the elbow one. That's Zane execution style to the back of the head. Can he find more? Yes, he can with the fadeaway onto Pluto.
No,
That's hard breach now gone, and this flank broken is going to be absolutely kicking himself.
Yeah, look, I think at this point it's not even him kicking himself.
Oh
no,
my.
Tuhan, how is this being allowed? No way, he goes for a quad.
That's
No
four. He's got
way.
the quad, and it's Arbs alone. Do they feed him the ace? That's the question.
Surely.
Too hard. Oh, he's found Arbs. He's got it.
Oh, there it is.
Too hard. With
There it
a
is.
Flawless ace for Fury to close the half.
Jesus.
Yokai drone is going to have to be absolutely clutch, and Zane falls. It's all on Angmo. It's going to be the default for Apples right now. He's got tools at the belt. He goes for the first one. Time is not there. He's going to be able to delay. They have no clue.
You have run out of time.
He's waiting for Pluto to get too aggressive. Impact again. Going to deny the X-Cairo spray. Does not quite finish him off, and President with the toxic canisters is going to make this push incredibly hard. Looking to hold down from Trophy himself. EE1D out the charger onto the side. They're looking for the plant by the chassis. The toxic canister deep. Is it going to be able to deny? Quiz for one. Another push on for two. He's denied the plant. The 1v1.
God.
Quiz with another Herculean effort takes the round back.
And that was the year of OCL. A lot of highlight moments from you boys. Any particular ones that stuck in your mind?
Look, Angmo and his little clutch with the Yokai drone on Cafe, it was pretty big. There was another team that pulled that off. Altered Zelios, banana player for them, pulled off
just about to mention
a
that.
1v5 Yokai clutch without firing a single bullet in the round. So there's been some big utility players this year.
Yeah, that sounds so good. You know, even Zenox could
Yeah.
probably do that. You know, not having to fire a bullet. So good stuff.
He's not that smart.
That's true. That's true. Look, so OCL, obviously, the pathway feeds into OCN. OCL this year, it was the first time it was really formalized, cemented. Previously, we had that LPL Pro, but it didn't actually have that pathway up into OCN. So this year, it was just on another level, right? Obviously, you've got that prize pool everyone's fighting for, but also those spots. So the level of competition surely just would have escalated from what we'd seen in the past.
Oh yeah, each stage it was just ramping up. Like stage 3 was absolutely insane. I mean, you take the teams that playing stage 1, throw them against the teams of stage 3, it would have been 7-0s across the board.
Yeah, I definitely will have to agree. The stage 1, like, it worked really good as kind of the stepping stone for all of the teams to kind of get used to all of the pacing, the whole kind of concept even of the comp play on a higher tier. And yeah, stage 3 came about. It definitely felt like there was no longer that kind of the top 2 that would be able to just absolutely wreck everyone else and just completely just shut it down. Like, it didn't feel like, quote unquote, the ivory tower. And so yes.
Sorry, Ivory Tower is a trigger word in my brain.
I know that. Yeah. And so yeah, so stage 3 definitely was the big highlight out of the whole year. I'll say that.
Awesome. Well, look, let's take a trip back memory lane. Let's go talk stage 1 for a minute. This is how stage 1 ended up. Now, a lot of these orgs and these teams that you're looking at are not necessarily the same ones. Like, if you look at the names in those 8 teams in stage 1, and you look at the 8 teams that we ended up with at the end of stage 3, very, very different story. But Exto, #1 team, ended up getting picked up by Overt, and then they joined OCN when LFO disbanded. What really was the story of OCL? Like, did we go in expecting it to kind of pan out this way?
No, not at all. Unfortunately, Cthulhu wasn't there for that stage. We had to give him a bit of a break from LPL Pro. We gave him that one stage to get himself ready. But the entire storyline of stage 1 was Skyfire curb stomping every other team in the competition. Literally, there was no one that could challenge them. Fury, unfortunately, they were far from the beast that they turned into by the end of the year. And you come to playoffs, Big Dogs, they had that first miracle run. They started 5th, clawed all the way up to the top 3. Then got dumpstered by Exto. Exto go into the grand finals, and they turn on the afterburners and won the whole thing.
So Skyfire was Jigsaw's old team, right? But this was the post-Jigsaw Skyfire?
Last year, yeah.
So that was like the LPL Pro.
Like Jigsaw, Smacker, I believe Ku Brian, another name that I can remember from that team. But there's some old names.
Yeah, right. So yeah, Fury, the main big name that people would recognize here. Obviously, like you said, stage 1 didn't start too crash hot, but by the time stage 3 rolled around, they had really made a name for themselves. Keep those teams in your mind while we move over and look at stage 2. Quite a different stage. Like at this point, we've got Kraken, we've got Warriors, we've got all these other teams in there, like those big names, organizations that have really been making a splash. Overt as well. What was there coming in stage 2? Like, how did that really change from stage 1?
So with stage 2, it ended up being, so essentially Fury picked up themselves the Pun and Kaken, and as well as that, I believe at later down the line, Guzz and Tuhan joined into the roster, and that was like a complete 180 for Fury. So they went from being literally just barely scraping the bottom of the barrel to just curb stomping their opposition left, right, and center, apart from Overt, who were just built differently. Balkan Britnici that you see on the 6th place, that's actually ex-Skyfire roster that unfortunately got dropped by the org, and then from there on they went through a roller coaster of emotions of just roster swaps. Pretty much, I think there was only once where it was the same roster that played throughout the whole season. And Kraken came in. They had, I think, one amazing showing, and from there on it was just kind of struggle town for them. The Funky Monkeys had actually quite a lot of promise, because this was the team that had GCZ and Rizraz in it. And then following up, I think it was Zane and Angmo.
Zane, Pluto, and Angmo.
Yeah, Zane, Pluto, and Angmo. And on paper, we were like, during the whole stage 2, we were hyping them up. Because on paper, look, seeing Rizraz return, the ex-Fnatic player GCZ, who was just cracked on the sticks whenever it came down to any kind of entry game, made a whole lot of promises. But at the end, the 4th place kind of all that we got, and it was still kind of very disconnected kind of performance, unfortunately.
And what about the Warriors? So that's obviously like quite a prolific organization. NZ fans would have been pretty excited to see Warriors jump in there. What happened with them? Ended up in 5th place, probably a bit of a disappointment to the organization.
I mean, it's ironic that you say prolific, because that was the team name. It was Team Prolific before they got picked up by the Warriors.
That was intentional. That was definitely intentional.
I think it was because Flux, who is the in-game leader for the Warriors, is a New Zealander. So I think he got in contact with some people with Warriors Esports, and they got them involved. Warriors didn't have like a terrible season. They made back-to-back showings into the playoffs. It was the same season where Fury, Overt, and Big Dogs were really starting to hit their stride. So you've got 3 incredibly skillful teams coming into the top 5. Big Dogs obviously being their first opponents, knocks them out of playoffs 2 stages in a row. And unfortunately, their stage 3 was even worse, but we'll touch on that soon. Honestly, stage 2 was an interesting one, because you saw Fury change their playstyle with the addition of Kaken and Pun. Overt refined their playstyle, and unfortunately, it just wasn't enough to deal with that heavy aggression.
Yeah, interesting to see that Overt, I know that they lost the grand final eventually. They went flawless throughout the regular round robin phase, lost that grand final to Fury, which, by the way, was the 4th time in OCN and OCL in 2021 that the 2nd-seeded team had actually won the gauntlet. A bit ironic, considering they would have to play more games than the 1st-seed team. But of course, Overt then, due to overall across the year being the best OCL team, the highest seeded across the year up to that point, end of stage 2, LFO in OCN disbands and Overt get that invite. I think no one can question whether they deserve that with how they ended up going in OCN. Of course, making top 4 at the end of playoffs there. But yeah, of course, interesting to see that they dropped off at the end. Was that just like a once-off thing? Like, because obviously Overt's such a strong team. They only made a single roster change between this Overt and the one that ended up playing in OCN playoffs. Was this just a once-off?
Nah, it was stage 2 was really Fury's playground. And the match that they did end up losing to Overt was still an incredibly close one. It was just these very, very pivotal adaptations that Overt were able to make on the fly. Like, we were sure it was going to go to OT. I believe it was a 7-5 in the end on Cafe Dostoevsky. So Fury, this was a playstyle that had not been seen in the OCL at all up until this point. It was just hyper aggression matched with an insane ability to frag out. I mean, you had Kaken, who MVP stage 1, very nearly. Actually, no, he was the overall MVP for stage 2 as well. Insane fragging capabilities on a support role. You then had Pun able to back him up, so they could literally send the entries in. If the entries died, you then had this insane fragging duo following up immediately behind. And so you come to the grand finals, and Overt just weren't prepared to deal with that level of aggression. And you had Tuhan, one of the new additions to the team. The guy dropped 17 frags playing Lion and I believe Wemai throughout the entire consulate match, which was a 7-2 for them. And Overt, unfortunately, they go into map 2. Round 1, it looks like they're going to pick up the round. President DC's in a pivotal position, and it collapses the defense, and it just went downhill from there.
Yeah, but of course that does lead us into stage 3, which I think you guys had already hyped up as kind of like obviously it is the culmination, but it was quite a pivotal stage. Big thing at face value, Kraken. Stage 2, bottom place. Stage 3, what are they doing up there?
Yeah, that was actually one of the biggest storylines that we were hyping up throughout the whole of stage 3 as well, because Kraken made a few additions to the roster for stage 3. They brought in Luna, they brought in Tiltek, who was back in stage 2, was part of Big Dogs. And they just completely cranked it all up to the maximum. And the whole thing with stage 3 was that for the majority of the things, like the standings, say for Promo Relos, were more or less kind of set in place, and for the OCL finals, it was all pretty much set. But within just the context of stage 3, it was kind of the time for all the upsets, and so kind of Kraken came in swinging in that one, just full throttle kind of deal.
Yeah, it was a team that has absolutely nothing to lose goes in swinging as hard as they possibly can and cracks top 2. I mean,
like it was the Fnatic versus EG type kind of beat, where if you remember, Fnatic back then had literally bugger all to lose, and they just came out swinging. And I think same energy was there for Kraken, but obviously they still were trying to escape the relegation as well.
Yeah,
which they did.
So who ended up in relegations out of OCL, if you guys remember that? Like
Ultratelios, because they're obviously the newest team in stage 3. They qualified at the beginning of stage 3. And I believe Odium is the other team who Funky Monkeys, they were picked up by Odium. So they came in beginning of stage 2. So the two newest teams in the competition.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Well, that did, of course, leave us with the final. I mean, why don't I have to ask you that? Because I actually have that in the next slide, believe it or not. I was just testing you guys. There you go. Relegation, Odium, and Ultratelios at the bottom. Top 4 at the end of the year. Of course, this is not counting Overt, as Overt ended up in OCN rather than OCL. Fury at the top. It seems like everyone kind of agrees that that's just how it is. Like you can't dispute that Fury is the best team.
Yeah, at the beginning of stage 3, I think that was quite heavily disputed, but they worked their issues out. By the end of stage 3, it looked like they'd been playing that way for such a long time. They brought everything together. Honestly, they're better than they were in the stage 2. I'd argue.
Yeah, look, yeah. With stage 2, it was an interesting dynamic, because it was just stage 2, it's Fury just full on aggression to the Maximus. Stage 3, you can see the wrinkles forming in the brain, and the aggression is actually like fully calculated, which took a moment for the wrinkles to actually form, because you look at Fury's performance in the first few weeks, and I know All Might Quickdraw was going through quite a fair few copium tanks quite rapidly.
It's kind of funny for me seeing, I was paying attention to OCL in stage 3. Kraken obviously made a bit of a name for themselves and, ended up second place. They end the season though in 6th, right down the bottom, just barely outside relegations. Is this kind of signposting for an optimistic future for what could potentially be, the new Fury, the new dominating team in 2022?
100%. Like there was a lot. Again, I think it was a lot of factors. The team coming into the grand finals, Tiltech was having PC issues. He was having to play from a PC cafe rather than at home, so he wouldn't have been nearly as comfortable. They had connection issues. There was a lot that again went into it that could have changed how things played if it was an ideal situation for them. We did think that it was going to go a full 5 maps, but I think the wear and tear coming into it for Kraken was enough that they lost out 3-1.
Yeah, and Warriors ended up in the top 4 despite a really poor stage. Was it stage 3? They ended up last place. Was that a bit of a surprise as well?
Yeah. Yes. Again, it was with Warriors slightly less of a kind of a storyline in form of similarity with Funky Monkeys back in stage 2. With Warriors, they are far from being a bad team per se. Like, you look at them, they're all very, very able. I mean, you still have Vlad and Tesla, who came back from the ye old PC 419 days. They had the whole chemistry. Smacko absolutely cracked. Fluxus, funnily enough, Flux actually mentioned back on the pre-match interviews that when they introduced Vlad, it was to add like that extra kind of microsecond IGL. So they running off what was similar to ye old days, I think of Airwolf, when, if you remember, when Lunar brought in, but who was it? For one of the Q confirmed players, I think. One of the Pharaohs players.
Array. Man, you are really...
Array, yeah.
That was from,
I'm digging like very deep, yeah.
Unique monster. Oh mate, this is some serious.
Like,
you're going into the annals of history to try and scrounge this up, mate.
Yeah. Look, I'm trying to flex the boomer status, but it's not even any good. But yeah, look, the idea was there, theory was there, but the actual execution was unfortunately just not working out against literally any other of the teams. And I think the only dub that they actually scored was against 1620 Kings, and that was more so on 1620 Kings for just genuinely throwing a bunch of rounds.
No, it was Forsaken 5 in the final week of play, because remember that was for third place. And it was determining who would go in as third seed to playoffs, and Forsaken 5 just got absolutely styled on by the Warriors and gave it to Big Dogs in the end.
Yeah, true.
Well, one thing that's great if you're a viewer of both OCN and OCL is exact same format. Very easy to understand and transfer between one and the other. Gauntlet, just like we have here also in OCL. And that obviously produces those exciting playoffs where you get 5 teams, but massive advantages to those teams that have seeded higher. That pretty much does wrap up OCL, though, for the year. Of course, we know that it is Fury and Big Dog, so we'll be going into those relegations. Overall, any particular takeaways or reflections across the whole year of OCL?
Panda, I'll let you take first on this one.
It's been the storyline for OCL. It's just each stage is a progression in terms of improvement. And you look at the quality of gameplay, the quality of everything, even production, casting, everything has just progressively got better. And honestly, you look at the teams like Kraken Esports and Fury, and even Big Dogs and the teams that finish sort of that 5th to 6th, 7th position. Even going into next year, I honestly could expect some big things out of those names.
Yeah, I'll certainly agree with that. And going into even the whole promotion relegation, which I can see on the right side, we'll touch upon in a little bit, but I definitely think that a lot of the kind of underdog or / dark horse storylines could be developed, especially more so in favor of Big Dogs rather than Fury, because with Fury it's more so kind of people are expecting at this point they're already the 2 times champions of stage 2 and stage 3 for OCL, whereas for Big Dogs they had a few like good shining moments, and then kind of that's about all that there is for their whole storyline. So if they can catch anyone off guard, promo relos will be their time.
One thing we didn't talk about was the Big Dogs, the tweet.
Yeah,
I will bring that up. We can talk about that.
Comments on that.
What happened, man? Like, was that after or before their match in the playoffs?
That was before.
That was 5 minutes after.
They bottomed out. Yeah, as soon as they lost that second to last match of the playoffs. LFT posts were coming out. And
we are
honestly,
disbanding, but at that point they'd also booked their spot in Relos already, hadn't they?
Booked in Relos, they were booked in finals. That was their third, podium
OCL
finish for the
finals,
year.
And you got relegations coming up, a chance to be an OCN next year, and you're disbanding. What happened?
Yeah, a bit of a head scratcher there.
All I can say is I just feel so bad for Spectron, who's the coach for the team. He has been busting his ass all year with the team to try and get to this point. We had the opportunity to sit down with him. He said, I'm instilling the work ethic. I want these guys to be treating it like it is their, it is going to be their job. They want to make pro. They need to act like they want to be a pro. And then for that to happen, I just felt so bad for him.
Rough one. Yeah, really rough. But hey, it's not over yet. Of course, they did come out, what was it, 5 minutes later with actually, we're not disbanding. We're going to play Relos.
I think that was probably him and Pac-Man. Pac-Man Rage, obviously the man who, Pac-Man Down Under, sorry, the man who put the whole team together at the beginning of the year. I think they sort of sat down with the boys and said, look, we've got the spot. Why would we waste it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and pulled a bit of a psych card there.
Honestly, just mental warfare. Mental warfare against who they play. They're going to play Wildcard, right? I think in the Relos.
Yep.
So just instilling some false confidence into WC. WC definitely
I don't actually know who is going to be playing in that roster going into relegations, because I believe they've lost their two newest members in Logic and Havoc. So I think there are some of the older players coming in.
Rosters are locked, so
yeah, they had a couple of subs on the bench that were part of the team.
That's handy.
who weren't playing. So I think we might actually see Pac-Man Down Under and Boff, who was
Boff is actually leaking in the chat that I'm going to be playing for Big Dogs in the relegations. I've actually
he was a sub. He was a sub for stage 3, and then I think he's going to take
Boff and Spectron. Spectron was cracked on
I think Spectron might be. He's one of the only players in the OCL who has a 100% win rate.
Jeez, I'm actually a one-time go for player with that team, or at least with Pac-Man, who was on that team. So...
It wasn't even a go for, but yeah.
What was it?
It's like some. I don't know if I can say the sponsor name, but it was a cup of some sort.
You can say the sponsor name. What was it?
It's the Lenovo cup.
Oh right, and do we win? Where did we come in that? I say we won. We probably won. We
didn't win.
We probably won.
You got close.
We basically won, pretty much.
Close enough. Yeah.
Let's just say that we won.
Yeah, right.
Fake it till you make it, or at least you didn't.
All right.
Well, technically, Dev even somewhat played on a LAN with wearing the Obi.
Gotta find that photo somewhere. Gotta find that photo.
Yeah, we need to find that.
Very embarrassing.
GN Logic.
2017. I think Logic. Sorry, I just unbanned Logic. So he can. Here you go.
I don't actually know what's happening with the team. I just know they play.
I'm going to say this in front of everyone. Logic, I have unbanned you. I'm sure that you were banned for a reason. Play nice, mate. Otherwise, you're going straight back there, all right?
Sheesh.
There you go. I got a love heart in the whispers, so there you go.
Shout out to King Guzz as well. He's one of the OGs of the team. He's been with them since the start. Shaq, who was his former teammate, is saying ban him again. So, look.
I'll think about it, Shaq. I'll think about it. Righto. All right. Well, that pretty much rounds out OCL. Of course, we'll touch more on it when we get to Relos. But for now, we do have our first of the giveaways to go for. So type Relegations Weekend into the chat to be eligible. We've got 3 sets of 1,200 R6 credits to give away. We'll give away one now. We'll give away another one a bit later on, and then one at the end of the show. So make sure you type Relegations Weekend in the chat. Be eligible. I'll draw that. You can use it on any platform. I know allows me what platforms they play on. Can we just get a little bit of a spontaneous poll in chat? Just type what platform you play on. Like PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Samsung Fridge,
Nintendo Wii.
So what was that? Nintendo Wii?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The QE peaking on the Nintendo Wii is really good, isn't it? Aim boy.
I would actually be keen for Siege and VR or something. That
would
be
nice.
an interesting concept.
I think
QE peeking in VR.
QE peeking in VR.
Jump shooting through the hatch and then just cracking your skull on something.
Please no. All right, we're gonna roll it. All right, we've just rolled it. It is Phoenix ANZ, mate. If you are not here, I will have to re-roll it, so make sure that you say something in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to have to re-roll. I'll give you a minute before I do that. There you go. As typed. Fantastic. Can you send a whisper to Rainbow6ANZ and let me know what method you use of playing the game? What platform you play on? Try not to say it. I think as Zenox DC'd, he's like full frozen. Just looking.
I think this is the longest I've seen Zenox on a broadcast not talk.
I actually thought you DC'd, because if you DC'd, I think it would just freeze. But you were just standing, you were just intently looking at something.
No, I'm just reading something.
Good. Respect you for that.
Yeah.
DM on Twitch straight to Rainbow6ANZ, please. It's a Twitch whisper. That'll do it. Phoenix, thank you very much, mate. All right, if you lost that one, it's all right. Type Relegations. We can in the chat. We'll just later on. But for now, we're gonna chat. For now, we're gonna chat about OCN because you know, Zenox and Guzz, you guys are here too, believe it or not, and I want you to talk.
Not sure what that is.
Gotta feel relevant.
At least some points.
Gotta try to.
So we're gonna go. We'll watch some highlights and we'll come back.
Has the plant down. Sage has very little health. But he has already had his position be made whereabouts. Dino gets on it. He will get taken off of it though. Worthy's playing this well. Under the pressure. Under the pump. Sage gets on it, but Worthy with a headshot onto Hayward. He's got 3 for the round. He only needs to get Sage for the quad to send this to overtime, and he's got 20 seconds. Sage has no health. 1 bullet will get the job done. This might be a moment for Zenox's chop of the week if they lose it from here, and they do! Chiefs go to OT! What a play! We aren't worthy! One swing from Gold Legion can easily find the double kill. Goes for a different position, gets the kill onto Repix. That's info, of course, onto Gold Legion's position for both Todd and Shade. Shade's going to counter defuse while Todd will be the bodyguard to swing. He is successful! Gold Legion goes big! At the big moment for the Chiefs to force a 15th round!
Going to see how important it is to have that player on your team that you can lean on, that you can look to when times are tough.
The IQ?
And that's what he's going to be careful of, Dev. They've got so much intel gathering here on the side of Order. That's an early C4. Oh! See you later. Bye-bye. 3 players from Wildcard. So much worse. I think Emo's just been given a freebie there. Maybe a second as well. Don't give Emo a chance. He will take every opportunity given to him.
Oh my god, 1v5, and he's found the 3k. How many more can he get? The pistol, it's a headshot machine, but incredibly low damage, especially with this suppressor on. Oh my god! 1v5 down to a 1v1.
Just gives you shivers thinking about it. Emo Rin rotating back around. Josh just trying to bait this out. Might be perfect timing. My god. Game of cat and mouse at the moment. Emo Rin with the patience. This is going to force Juicy into a really uncomfortable position if he does not get a move on. If he does not start to force Emo Rin out into the open. Oh my god! No way! Emo Rin.
Choking.
I wasn't sure whether you were choking with emotion or whether you were choking on nuts. I don't know what. Oh, gee.
That's the best clip of the year.
I don't know why he didn't just go the whole way and say D's nuts, but that's manic.
I'm actually sad that he's not here, honestly, because he would definitely get around it. He would definitely get around it. I can get them playing on repeat. Here we go. There we go. Chuck that on mute. There we are. Look, it was an action-packed year of OCN. This was like just hands down one of the funnest leagues I've ever been a part of. Such a blast, especially, you know, there were some good moments in stage 1, you know, this being one of them. Worthy really showed up, had the C4 moment, but as soon as we got player cams, it was like a whole nother ball game. Honestly, made my day, made my season. Any big takeaways, Guzzle?
From the year as a whole?
Yeah, from OCN this year. You know?
I mean, the Chiefs storyline's pretty obvious, so I'm not going to bring that one up. I think for me, the one that kind of sticks out is just Wildcard. Heading into stage 1, of course, Diesel unfortunately unexpectedly left, quite abruptly left the roster, and we were trying to peddle the storyline the whole year. Wildcard, they'll come back. Yeah, they got 5 good players. They'll eventually make that comeback, and it just never happened. And now they have to make that fight in relegations.
Yeah. Well, they only had 4 good players in stage 1.
Don't say that about Emo-Rin, man. You can't say that.
Mate, Silex back in the day, mate. Back when I was still in the womb, he was clicking heads.
Silex is a gamer.
Confirmed,
You know,
Alex was
it was the best
another-
CS 1.6 AWPer in ANZ, actually. Back in the day.
No one cares about Silex. I think another massive storyline for this whole year really was also Team Bliss and their rise domestically. Yes, they had their failures in best of 3 formats. We won't go too much into that.
That's illegal, mate.
Listening.
You can't say it. Do you reckon that Todd actually has stopped watching Reload? Because it used to be Bliss would always be in chat for Reload. I haven't seen any of them tonight.
Don't say Bliss. It's usually Oda was in here earlier. Usually it's Oda and Rapix, the boys. Usually come around, say hi.
They're my favorite.
But no, look, honestly, obviously stage 1 they were good without being like overly amazing. They finished like 3rd. Then they obviously failed in the quarterfinals to Rufflecopter. Then they went 1 better in stage 2. They looked like almost the best team domestically, and then they got taught a lesson by the Chiefs. And then basically in stage 3, again, it was that same exact storyline as stage 2. Really, really good in the regular stage, and then absolutely caked it come playoff time. So that was a big storyline. Obviously, as Guzz said, there is that Chiefs storyline, 3 in a row. Massive. And the fact that they had to do it the hard way as well, actually, in stage 3 for the Chiefs. You know, quarterfinals into semifinals into the
Didn't
final.
look hard, to be honest.
They made it look pretty easy, didn't they? So Chiefs absolutely dominant all year long when it mattered the most. And Bliss were basically the opposite, dominated the old regular stage. couldn't do it in the playoffs. And Knights were there as well, right? And I think that basically sums up the top 3. Knights were always hanging around, whether they were in a final, whether they were at the top of the standings. They were always there, but never could get the chocolates against the Chiefs.
So coming into stage 1, I feel like all our expectations, because this was when Knights had just beaten Wildcard in the BO5. This was when Wildcard had their full roster. Actually, I think it was BO3. In like remember we had end of last year. Actually, was played in January. It was
the Oceanic finals that we didn't cast.
Like
I do
the
remember
APAC OS finals, or whatever it was.
I didn't cast it.
No, we didn't. I had better talent working that event.
Yeah, clearly.
Honestly, it was an event that didn't matter anyway.
Well, I think there was a pretty big prize pool, but regardless, Wildcard, they shut the bed. Knights took them. I think that was kind of a point where we're like, all right, maybe Knights is actually going to potentially make Wildcard work for it, because last year it was just all Wildcard, right? Like it was 6 Masters and then Oceanic Nationals, which was essentially like the 2 stages of last year for OCN. It was just Wildcard all day. Like they didn't drop a map in playoffs for OCN, if I recall. And I think the only map they lost like all year basically was 1 map against LFO and 6 Masters, and that was LFO's map pick anyway, if I recall. So Wildcard was super dominant, but then when we knew that Diesel was going away, everyone was like, okay, Knights is the next obvious team, right? To take that number 1. We were definitely surprised when Bliss, believe it or not, this is the final standings of stage 1. Bliss ended up, I think, they seeded in 3rd into the playoffs, but at the start of Playday 7, so with 4 matches to go in the round robin, they're actually in 1st place. And I think that just goes to show how close the entire OCN was, definitely to our surprise. Expected Wildcard to struggle, maybe not as much as they did. Definitely, I think, didn't expect Roffle, Bliss, even Chiefs to do as well as they did at the start of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
Very good point from you, James. Yeah,
well done, James. Yeah. I will say, though, that, again, one thing that carried on from 2020 was that pretty even competition in stage 1, where you had that sort of top 5 that were all very, very close, 1-2 points kind of separating everyone. I think as the year went on, that kind of changed a little bit. We got a bit more of a kind of top 3, top 2 kind of situation forming. Obviously, Bliss and their dominance in the regular stage, Chiefs and just their overall dominance. Knights had a bit of a blunder in stage 2, but then obviously bounced back in stage 3. I mean, if you go back and actually look at the stage 3 standings, Knights had 18 points, Bliss 17 points, and then there's a 5-point gap to 3rd, which was the Chiefs. And the reason why that's quite significant is you go back to stage 1, and a 5-point gap almost gets you from 1st to 6th, right? Yes. So you can sort of see the difference there, I think, as the year kind of went on. Large reason for that, teams like LFO, Rhythm obviously just couldn't quite keep up. But then you had the downfall of the likes of Order. Rufflecopter started really well in stage 1, but of course, as we know, they started to drop off a little bit as the year went on. But most importantly, for stage 3, the biggest surprise for me, and maybe this is not like a year as a whole, Dev, in terms of summarizing, but the absolute downfall of Order is mind-boggling. Their stats for stage 3, minus 18 round differential, only 4 points gained for the entire stage. I believe that is almost one of the worst performances for the year. Not quite, though. LFO got 3 points in stage 1. Stage 2, Rhythm only got the 1 point, so they don't quite get that mantle.
Pretty damn close.
Honestly, pretty damn close, and they honestly almost deserve to have that mantle.
If it wasn't
obviously
for Bailey,
the other part of,
they probably would have had it.
the other part of it too is Rhythm's sort of return, right? Because in stage 2, they looked like they shouldn't even be there.
Yeah.
They
Do we want to
like
talk on stage 2 for a minute? Because, you know, I'm trying to go through this.
All right, yeah, let's do that. Yeah,
let's talk stage 2. Continue your train of thought. There you go.
So obviously stage 2, we'll go over it in its whole, but for Rhythm, yeah, absolutely disaster. This doesn't quite work because now I can't talk about how great they were in stage 3. So maybe we'll.
I mean, I can flick to that if you want.
But yeah, by far and away, the worst performing stage of any team was Rhythm. Minus 27 round differential, only 1 point gained, which was an overtime loss. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was absolutely horrific. So the fact that they were able to bounce back in stage 3 says it all. They made playoffs, and what a little return for them. And they avoided relegations. Can you believe it? I don't know how they've gone and done that one, but credit to the boys. But obviously for stage 2, Chiefs and Bliss, that was for me the main storyline. Was Rise of Bliss and the rivalry that kind of began against Team Bliss.
Such an exciting rivalry. Honestly, like, I feel bad that we don't talk about Knights enough because they were like such a consistent and strong team. But it's just because they got overshadowed by Chiefs winning everything and Bliss surprising everyone. Like, Knights met expectations, maybe not quite. Like, we kind of expected them to win at least one of the stages. But, like, it's not like Knights were that below our expectations, not compared to, you know, Order or Wildcard. But, yeah, it's just they get overshadowed by Bliss exceeding expectations by such a stretch. You know, Bliss, their dominance in the round robin of stage 2 was insane. Like, I remember going into this stage 2 final. I don't know, Guzz. I think there was like a feeling of all of us, like, oh, Chiefs probably going to win. But like, there was definitely there's a chance that Bliss actually win this. They've seeded straight into the grand final.
Yeah, I think with hindsight, we're probably maybe a little bit too optimistic for Bliss, just because Chiefs have proven that throughout the year they've been quite dominant in that BO3 format. But yeah, of course, hindsight's obviously 2020. I still think that Bliss at their best can take it up against the likes of the Chiefs under the right conditions, under the right map feeder, with the right mental. But I just don't think those stars have aligned just yet. So hopefully we might see that in the OCN finals, for example, where I don't know exactly how the bracket's going to shape up, but there could be an opportunity for them to face off once more, and we can see if that storyline continues or not.
Yeah, for sure. This, though, stage 2 here is where we finally saw Wildcard have their full 5 roster. Their roster lock had opened up, and because what was super unfortunate is Diesel kind of had to leave right after the February roster window, the February-March roster window, which is the main one. Oh my god, I looked for a second, I'm like, he wasn't wearing all that. Wildcard, you lost my train of thought. Wildcard like couldn't replace Diesel straight away. They had to play with their coach Silex, who's obviously hasn't played for quite some time. But stage 2, they could finally recruit someone. They got Milo because obviously Noble, Melon Cat had disbanded, left a couple of really strong players around. Fisher got nabbed by Chiefs. You know, a couple of players went various directions, and Milo was left wanting, and he ended up going to Wildcard. Guys, we absolutely expected Wildcard to do a lot better with Milo. Like, we were saying, and I still stand by it, like, in terms of fragging, like, Milo is like a better player than Diesel. Like, he's a more aggressive player, which probably works more in this meta. But my god, how wrong we were.
Yeah, I think looking back now, it's pretty evident that it's not a one-man job in fixing the issues that Wildcard have. And I do think that sometimes a player can come into a roster and turn things around or have a big impact. And I'm sure Milo has had an impact to some extent, but I think the issues are too entrenched in the roster at the moment, and we're seeing that in their gameplay. The results reflecting that as well. I don't think it's impossible for them to turn things around, but as the year went on, it only got grimmer and grimmer. And as I'm sure we got increasingly worried for them, the roster themselves as well have sort of been doing some soul searching. So again, at the end of the year, much like Bliss are trying to prove themselves in the OCN finals, for example, wildcard, I mean, they're not trying to prove themselves, they're trying to survive. So they're almost at the opposite end of the spectrum, and there's no second chance after relegations. If they get sent back into OCL, well, who knows what's going to happen from there? I mean, will they stick together? Will they fight back? I mean, that's the absolute worst case scenario, but it's often something that we've, been discussing privately, and I'm sure many people in the scene have sort of been pondering on as well. If that does happen, I mean, what's ultimately going to happen? It would be quite incredible for Wildcard just as an organization, as a roster, to go from where they were. You think Tokoname, where they almost took down the champs, they went to 6 Invitational, and then their world kind of got turned upside down after that.
It's honestly depressing. It's a really depressing storyline, but sometimes those exist, and like that's kind of the reality the Wildcard found themselves in. We were optimistic. Oh, it's because they only played with Milo for a couple of weeks or a couple of months in stage 2. Stage 3 was where we really realized just to the extent at which Wildcard was struggling, and that is just, we're going to see the culmination of it in Relos, like you said. Let's move on to stage 3, though. The three-peat. At this point, it was kind of like, I don't know, is anyone going to be able to stop them? But funnily enough, this was the point where Chiefs had 2 fantastic stages in OCN, but they'd struggled in APAC South, and obviously APAC South leads to the majors. That's where they wanted to go. They wanted to make it to SI, into the majors. And so they kind of, I think, shifted their focus a little bit, and we were worried for them in OCN. We were worried that maybe they wouldn't be able to get the 3-peat while just not necessarily giving it their all. They ended up 3rd place out of the regular round robin with Knights and Bliss on top of them. And there was definitely this sinking feeling that, like, yeah, they're probably going to run the gauntlet, but all of the teams that they would have to face would be strong. But if anything, Zenox, I know the story you were running with, Rhythm, like, how did they bounce back from, what was it, 1 point in stage 2 to managing to get into playoffs for stage 3?
There's a multitude of factors. I mean, firstly, they obviously had a couple of little roster changes. I think more than maybe any other team, and this was a stage that actually had quite a lot of changes. What was it? Dragos came in, AFX, I think, was another one as well. This was also a team that probably had nothing to lose, right? They quite literally could not be worse than stage 2. So there was absolutely no pressure on them. Which is kind of interesting where they ended up, because I remember on Playday 2 they lost to Avert, which obviously they're going to have a bit of airtime here for the stage 3 segment. But once they lost to Avert, I was like, that's it. They're in relegation. Like, these guys are done. But they bounced back. To their credit, they shocked everyone by beating Rafflecopter and then beating Wildcard. They lost out to Order, which I remember that Playday week in particular, we were absolutely pumping their trains. We're like, Rhythm's going to win 3 in a row. Rhythm, it's all about them. And then they lose to Order. The game they honestly should have actually won. Then they go and beat the Chiefs. Hard to get a read on them. After that. They lose to Order, then they beat the Chiefs, and obviously that got them into the playoff position and out of relegations due to other results. Now, obviously, we've kind of touched on Rhythm earlier in stage 2, and as I sort of just prefaced there, they're great stage 3, which it was great, gets them out of relegations. But there's another main reason as to why, right? Rhythm didn't necessarily have an amazing journey out of relegations. It was more like there was another team that was actually just straight up way worse than them, and that was Wildcard, right? I know we just spoke about them in stage 2. James, I don't know why you said it was stage 2 where maybe we thought they were struggling. Stage 2 was actually their best stage of the year. Then their next best stage was stage 1 with their coach.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Worst stage of the year was in stage 3. Least amount of points, least amount of wins, worst round differential. That is with an extra couple of months with Milo on the team. That is still with the same core roster from that Grand 2020, minus only Diesel. It is staggering as to how far they fell in stage 3. And yet, there's a team that fell even bloody worse than them in stage 3, and that's Order. What the hell happened to Order in stage 3? Because they had one win for the entire stage. One. Absolutely mind-boggling how that's even happened. That was against Rhythm, which they honestly should not have even won that game. Rhythm choked it. Rhythm I actually believe, and I'll stand by it, I think they just didn't know how to deal with the pressure of being the favored team at that point, because they were so used to being the underdog. They were so used to being the team that no one expected to win. Now it's like, oh shit, everyone's expecting us to beat Order, and then Order end up just beating them. If they hadn't have won that game, they would have tied Rhythm's stage 2 performance of 1 point. They would have had arguably a similar round differential. It would have been as catastrophic, but yet they basically, of course, avoid relegations. It'll all get swept under the rug. I'm sure they'll have some roster changes.
Bastards,
and they bloody better have some roster changes going into next year.
The reason that Order are not in relegations, like, I don't know. They did all right in stage 1. But
LFO.
It's LFO. It's like LFO disbanding, bringing Overt in. Like, even though Overt did well, like, Overt would have had to literally win the entire of stage 3, like beat Chiefs, Bliss, and then Knights in the grand final in order for Order to lose their Relos, lose their guaranteed 2022 slot, right? To have to play Relos, which is just ridiculous to think. And wait, was it? I don't think it was even Order who was in that position. I can't remember off the top of my head now. But it you know, in fact, it might actually be in my next graphic. Let's have a look.
It was Rhythm, wasn't it?
Full season. Yeah, you're right. It would have been
Rhythm.
Rhythm. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
How did Order get away with 5th place? How?
Well,
After
their stage
3.
1 wasn't actually all that bad. That's the thing, right? And even their stage 2 wasn't all that bad. The thing is, stage 1, they made playoffs. Then stage 2, they actually finished 3rd in the standings because Knights just didn't care about OCN. And so therefore they got to the quarterfinal.
Top 4. Yeah.
And that alone, those 2 playoff performances alone. So while they didn't reach like any amazing highs, they also never had any amazing lows until that stage 3 performance.
Your Order, right? You come in, you're the second best team in 2020 under Akami, finally get picked up, finally getting paid after, you know, they've been talking for so long, very vocal about how frustrated they were that they weren't getting picked up. They're up here, you know, they finally get picked up, and it's all right, but they're not even managing to keep their second place despite wildcard going down, right? We thought that maybe Order would be one of the favored teams going into 2021. And then it gets worse when they pick up a coach. How does that happen? How do you pick up a coach and get worse?
There's reasons for that. Typically, if the coach feels like the core fundamentals aren't working and you want to change things up, yes, you can get worse before you get better. That is actually normal. It's just a question of, is this going to be a temporary thing? And the worse before getting better, is that just for this stage and then the improvements begin? Or this stage in particular, with the talent that they've got, it shouldn't have maybe got that bad. So yeah, maybe there is some question marks to be had. I think they'll make some roster changes. I think they'll come back next year and they'll be fine. I think this will probably be somewhat of a one-off. I don't consider it to be a permanency thing, so I'm not too concerned. To some good news though, of course, was the addition of Avert, who basically took OCM by storm. Not immediately, because they did lose on Playday 1 to the Knights, but boy did they take it up to them and competed quite well. Then they, of course, beat Rhythm, the game they expected to win. Then they got rid of Order. They won the games they needed to win. Just quickly looking at the play days, they did get taught a lesson by Bliss. I think I remember me and Guzz casting that one and basically saying like, all right, they've hit finally a really, really good teams, because the teams before, they'd either, you know, lost to a good Knights, beaten 2 teams they should beat, and then of course you run into Bliss. Then they demolished Wildcard, as we kind of expected. They lost to Roffle, which was somewhat surprising, but in the end didn't matter because they apparently went and beat Chiefs on the final playday 7-2. Make of that as you will, but I definitely don't think Chiefs were playing at their absolute best in that game. Still, Avert, really, really good job. Of course, they beat Rhythm in the playoffs like we expected. And then they took a map off the Chiefs in the playoffs, and then, of course, got absolutely whacked 7-0, 7-5. So really, really good to see from them. Their ability to come straight into the OCN, do a really good job, and sets them up really nicely for the promo relegations.
Yeah, just like you set us up pretty well for promo relegations. I just want to play a little bit of a game
Very
first.
nice,
Looking at this team, the final standings, right? It's a representation of how the team's performed over the whole year. But if we're trying to do like a power ranking of where the teams are right now, there's a lot of movement, and I think naturally it would look more like the Stage 3 standings. At least I think my power rankings would. So here's Stage 3 standings. I reckon your top 4 are the top 4 teams in OS right now. and it's funny because one of them is going to have to fight for their spot in the league because it's overt.
Yeah, I don't want to disagree with you. I also don't want to agree with you. I would rather frame it as I would rather frame it as a very competitive top 3, and then you've got question marks after
fourth.
that. I understand where you're going with, because obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. They've got money. They've all got special colors, but it's a top 3, and then from there it's basically anyone's game.
I'm still really scared for the Knights at the moment because yes, they hold their own decently well in OCN Stage 3, but they've really tapered off, at least regionally, with APAC, and a lot of that is kind of the fallout, I guess, from not being able to attend Mexico, and then there's question marks about the roster going forward and all kinds of stuff, so I'm very tentative to put them in a second place in terms of power rankings, but again, get more answers at probably not even OCN finals. If there does end up being roster shifts or whatever, that'll be after the transfer period, so that we're looking at like post SI, so stage 1 next year. They could come back and give Chiefs a really good run for their money, or they could go through that soul searching period that Order are going through, for example, or stay where they are. I don't know. That's the beauty of Siege. We just don't know until we play it.
Card on me, Knights. Just don't.
That would
card on me.
Yeah.
Like far out. I honestly thought we had like when Chiefs were on the rise and Knights were at their peak, like end of stage 2. I honestly thought like we had the 2 best teams in like maybe the 2 best teams in APAC here in us. Like arguably, I would have put both of them in top 4. Chiefs at their current form, Knights at their end of stage 2 form. You put those 2 teams alongside maybe IG and Dam 1, maybe Sandbox. Like it gets quite competitive there, but like surely both of those teams you get to put on even footing with all those teams from the rest of APAC. Unfortunately, when it's like the rule of fate, in order for one O's team to do well, another one has to shit the bed. And unfortunately, Knights were the victims of that, it seems. We know that they played Wrecked Gauntlet with Picnic instead of Hayward. We don't know exactly what's going on. I tried to grill Juicy for something, but he said there's nothing to announce at the moment.
Yeah.
I think
grill yet.
We can speculate. I think that it's fair to say that Picnic is a good fill-in, but they don't strive for him to be anything more than a fill-in. So they're probably going to be looking for any free agents.
Any good free agents out there at the moment, boys? Maybe
Townsend. Tex. Couple of good ones.
Maybe they'll poach someone from Order or something.
Dev Marta.
Yeah, that's cap.
Actually, I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, let's do that one.
I mean, if you go up the ticks after stage 3, there's some boys from Big Dogs looking for a team.
Yeah.
True.
There you go. Unfortunately, the next roster transfer window isn't until after 6 Invitational. So if you're Knights right now, you're like, well, shit, because we shat the bed in stage 3, we don't have our SI spot that would have been basically guaranteed, right? They were 3rd place in APAC in stage 1. That was when we didn't have the major. And then they got 1st in APAC South in stage 2, couldn't go to the major. So that means that they got like a top 16 major slot worth of SI points, like a bottom placing. Anyway,
50 points or whatever it is.
It's a lot, right? Like between 3rd place in stage 1 of APAC, I think Knights were like barely on the outside looking in terms of getting a 6 Invitational spot. And honestly, it was the fact that they got 0 SI points in stage 3 because they came like in the bottom half of APAC South. That's the only reason why they're not going to SI, right? Like imagine a world where Knights just, maybe they didn't retain their form, maybe they dropped off enough where they still got some bloody SI points. They could have booked 6 Invitational.
Are they straight to the closed calls for SI? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
so yeah, I mean obviously
that's hanging on a thread still with the potential roster movements or whatever's going on there. So
that's my next
all I'm gonna say.
I wonder if Picnic's going to say
is I wouldn't be surprised that say somebody like Wildcard or Order comes beginning of next year, not even SI calls, like once the roster change does come about. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull a Kraken and just go from the 7th and 8th position back in stage 3 this year to like top 4 easily.
I would love to see it,
like,
but
if they survive relegations,
Wildcard, I'm scared.
That's going to be a whole different thing.
I hate to say it, but I think Wildcard probably need to make some very substantial roster changes if they want to. Like, it's not about nothing against anyone on that team. It's just about reinvigoration. Like, you need the spark on that team. I think that spark, like that's gone out. The pilot light has just gone out. Someone needs to relight that, and that's such a gutting thing. For Order though, like it's crazy that like Bailey
for Order, like
was that Or in like
namely for Oriel, like they could rekindle like that fire, because I
sure.
genuinely think that is just mental is chalked for for them out of all of that, because like surely it's not just the fact that they just, I don't know, became washed or old. Heck no.
Yeah, well, you know, we got Logic in chat saying some big words for the big dogs.
Yeah, look, he talked a bit of shit during some of our pre-match interviews, and then they lost the team that they said they didn't need to worry about doing prep for. So, he hasn't learned his lesson. We'll see how it goes in relegations.
All I'm saying is if Wildcard beat Big Dogs in that game, I think that Big Dogs probably, Wildcard probably going to put.
Anyway.
They're probably going to put What a Breeze in the chat after it. I think if that ends up happening.
Yeah. I'll be waiting for that.
Yeah, look, I mean, all power to Big Dogs. If they can be the final KO to Wildcard, like, you know, I guess we could probably say one thing. I don't know if this is a bit too BM. Whoever loses that match, probably going to disband.
Oh, you can't say that, Dev. Jesus.
I mean, prove me wrong. I'm ready to be proven wrong.
We'll clip that one. We'll keep it ready for whatever happens.
I am happy to be the villain in this case. I apologize because, you know, I love those guys, but
hey, a week from now, we're gonna know.
Exactly. It's relegations weekend next weekend. Yeah, righto. So, look, that does leave us with the final standings of OCN and OCL, which we're going to dive into the relegations in just a minute. But before then, relegations weekend is the code word you got to put in Twitch chat to be eligible for this giveaway. The next one is for 1,200 R6 credits. So make sure you get that in there. I'll give you a couple seconds to type that in there. We already have 26 people eligible.
Relegations weekend.
You also only have to type it in once for the whole stream, by the way. You don't have to keep typing it in.
Ah, right. Nah, just keep on typing. Just keep on spamming. That's a lie. That's a lie.
I just like everyone. I just like
spamming.
everyone reminding us that it's next weekend, because I wouldn't be surprised if. Really, the keyword is just a ploy to make sure that Zenox remembers he's actually casting next weekend, and not double book it with something else.
Wait, am I casting that too?
Think so, mate. Think so.
Probably should put that one in the computer.
You got to put it in the computer. I mean, you know, to throw someone else under the bus, I think Manic didn't realize we had reload tonight until Saturday when I mentioned it to him, and he's like, "Oh shit, forgot about that."
That may well be why he came under the guise of a mysterious illness.
To be fair, he messaged me this morning, and he's like, "Mate, I am absolutely just gone. I'm gonna go."
I think he's sick with exhaustion, which is pretty fair, to be honest.
He's been doing like 16-hour days for the last
that was Cthulhu and I after OCL playoffs, like 12 maps over 3 days. We were just spent on Monday.
Yeah.
Shocking. All right, I'm gonna draw it, guys.
Hard life.
Wrecked MGM.
Well, we don't have someone to switch out with, so we did 12 maps as casters and analysts. So it was rough on the boys.
Envy you on that. All right, Tez has actually won it. So Tesla, I'm assuming you'll want to chuck it on PC, but
that's the biggest win Tez has had all stage.
Oh shit!
Nice to see Warriors winning something. So Tesla, you got to type it in the chat. You got 40 seconds, mate. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to re-roll.
Rigged.
That's the other crazy story. So you got, the PC419 crew who almost qualified for OCN last year. Jack's back at it again. He might get his re-attempt.
Maybe.
So I'm just saying, everyone just loves the re-rolls. I give him a minute. I'm fair. I give him a whole minute.
A whole whopping minute.
And it's been 50 seconds, so I don't think he's good. Oh, he got it! Clutch!
Jesus.
All right, Tez, jump in the Twitch Whispers. Let me know which platform you want it for, and I'll give it to you after the stream. We still have one more giveaway, one more set of 1,200 R6 credits. By the way, Battle Pass is actually about to tie up tonight, so it's your last night to get that. If you don't have Premium Battle Pass yet, 1,200 R6 credits is the exact amount you need to get that. So if you win this, punch it in, and then make sure that you'll earn all the premium tiers. Because if you do it tomorrow, you'll have missed all that. So there you go.
Nuttery's trying to change the outcome.
Hey, Nuttery, I have none of that. The Nightbot actually tells me that it's the real Tesla, so none of that, mate.
He's saying he wasn't here on time. He's saying he needs to reroll.
He was here at 53 seconds. I can tell you that. Nightbot also tells me. Yeah,
3 seconds, jeez.
all right, well that
Just
wraps
walking
up.
the fine line.
Yeah, he leaves it to the last minute, just like Warriors, except I guess he actually won it at the end.
But
They did. Warriors got the only win of the stage at the very end of the round robin.
There you go. Perfect crossovers into all facets of life. All right. Look, next up, let's actually start digging into the Relos bracket. So, firstly, we can talk about the teams. We've talked about these a lot, but there you go. Wildcard over Fury Big Dogs. Exciting thing for me about this one. Obviously, we get to see the culmination of Wildcard story of shit in the bed all year. Their fall from grace from the undisputed best team in OS to now the bottom of the barrel. We get to see Big Dogs, the will they or won't they of disbanding, and the overt Fury rivalry of that Stage 2 Grand Final, overt losing it, but technically still being the highest seeded team and therefore getting their spot in OCN, which Fury dearly wanted. Now Fury are going to have to fight against overt for that spot. I feel like already the storylines have just kind of carved themselves in.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Overt versus Fury is going to be an interesting one because Fury, obviously being kind of now on the top, they finally figured out their whole renewed roster from Stage 3. They're looking quite good, but with Overt, they had the whole whopping season to just play against OCN, which is arguably a little bit higher in competition. And in saying that, I still think that Overt might be able to come on top, but Fury certainly also have like a very solid, like a very fat chance to just say, frick off, Overt, send them to lower bracket, and then after that, look, for Wildcard versus Big Dogs, again, yeah, I suppose whoever wins gets a, well, not yet, but gets the inkling of disbanding, maybe.
You got to win 2 games. Got to win 2 games through the bracket. Which essentially just means you've got to be in the top 2. So, like, just, blanket question, gut instinct, Zenox, who are the 2 best teams out of these 4?
Overt and Fury would be the best 2 teams at the moment. That doesn't mean I'm discrediting Wildcard, though. I actually think when you look at that Wildcard roster, despite everything that's happened this year, you look at those players and you just think surely they'll get it together. The only reason why I'm hesitant, though, is because of Overt's success in OCN. That makes me think, well, then Fury may be able to replicate that themselves, and therefore would be too good for Wildcard. So the head says Overt and Fury, the heart says Overt and Wildcard, but basically I think Overt by far and away should be considered number 1 in this relegation. Big Dogs may as well not even exist, to be completely frank. Well, not because of the skill.
Period after Stage 3, they didn't. So
obviously, the whole disbanding and all of that's played out. I mean, let's be real. I think they'd be the first ones to admit it. I mean, sure, they get like 1 free crack. I don't see them beating Wildcard though, and then I don't see them beating either Overt or Fury. So, bit of a shame about that one, because I think maybe like a full strength, full mental Big Dogs would have been interesting to see how they would have gone. But it's just the timing more than anything, I think. But yeah, Overt Fury probably 1 and 2. But I still got, it's hard. I can't go past Wildcard. It's hard. I think it'll come down to, it's going to be Wildcard and Fury in the lower bracket final, and at that point, I don't know.
The way how I'm thinking as well. Okay, Big Dogs, yes. Like there may be a fair bit of hate, like from the audience. We may be discarding them, but think of it this way: we are putting a lot of pressure now. Well, not pressure, a lot of limelight onto Overt Fury Wildcard. They're the ones that quote unquote expected to win. For Big Dogs, this means just fucking send it. And if they send it in like full mental, I genuinely think they might be able to beat Wildcard, but just purely with the fact of the surprise factor. Because I've mentioned, I think, this back in, on some other discussions as well, with mates and everything, that for wildcard, they might be slowly adapting to, the way how OCN, how Apex South plays. For OCL, there's going to be a completely different outcome. Borderline kind of, you're expecting one thing, all of a sudden you see a frag come about with a bullet to the back of your head rather than taking you head on. So it's maybe that unpredictability that just borderline, well, I hate to call it monkey play style, but like maybe this will work out. And I wouldn't be surprised. I'll just say that Big Dogs will be the ones to beat out wildcard.
Maybe wildcard, but I don't think it'll be Avert and Fury.
Yeah, look, that's going to be the big question mark. It's if it's actually going to end up being Avert and Fury. Yeah,
I definitely feel like I haven't watched enough of OCL to make a qualified decision, particularly on the Fury Overt. I think that is the hardest game to pick. Just knowing how good Overt are from what we've seen in OCN and their potential, but knowing that they lost to Fury the last time that these two teams played, and that that was a BO5, which
to be fair, I actually did watch Big Dog slap Fury on Bank. I remember watching that one. I think I put it in our chat, and I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" Yeah.
Fury have talked about that. They just did not expect to be going to Bank that day. They hadn't done the prep for it. And
they're all going in chat. They're like, by the way, guys, we did beat them. We did beat them. Don't worry. Zenox watched that game, guys.
Don't worry, mate. I actually watched that one. Don't worry. I also watched the one where Fury then 7-1 Kraken the next week as well, and I was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
we had no idea what was going on either.
I was so confused. I
also watched that that round 4 match where Kraken lost 7-1 because they decided, we didn't have warm up. Let's treat map 1 as a warm up, and then kicked some teeth in. And Big Dogs then went on and started posting LFTs. So it's anyone's guess.
I think in relation to that, and obviously, for the old Big Dogs in chat and everything, we've seen this a couple of times in OCN where I'll just use Bliss as an example, right? They can get good results in best of ones, they can get good results in regular stage, but when it comes to playoffs, when it comes to finals, it's a different beast. I think Fury's probably got a bit of that about them, right? A bit of Chiefs about them, where they don't have, I mean, they did obviously finish in top spot. They also get it done when it comes to, that finals playoffs, obviously against Kraken. They looked pretty bloody good. What was that? 7-4, 7-5, 7-3. Yeah, and it ended up being pretty comprehensive for them against the Kraken team that I think had a lot of hype coming into that game as well, into that best of 5 final.
Yeah. Kraken's whole best of 5 run was.
No, hang on. Sorry. Oda, we're talking about best of 5s, mate. Don't worry, you're good. We're talking about best of 5s.
Well, technically, Bliss do suck at BO5s as well.
True,
mate. Actually, no, they won a map in their best of 5 grand final.
One map, yeah. That doesn't mean they won the game. They got spanked 3-0 after they won that one map. So, I mean, yeah. Oda can't beat Chiefs. That's fine. Just beat anyone else in a BO3 and we're chill. But actually, you're doomed to.
Who do you think you're going to be beating then, Oda, next year? From these
also
relegation
didn't beat
games?
Rafflecopter in stage 1. I know it was a long time ago, but
wow, that's way too old. No one cares about that one. Come on, I want Oda's thoughts though. Who does he think is going to make it into the OCN next year?
I thought you meant who was Bliss going to beat, because they'll need to step up to the plate for Apex South, but.
Yeah, mate. The other promo relegations we're going to be talking about, Bliss. Can they break the curse of the BO3 to beat some Asian teams? And then potentially, are they on the same side of the bracket as Wildcard or Order? I think it's Wildcard for them. Which is...
For Bliss?
Yeah, I can't remember. Is there
even a bracket? Apex South here, though.
We'll get to another time.
We'll keep it to OCN.
All right, well, OCN and OCL, of course. Now, speaking of, these are the 4 teams, but we also have their rosters. So, players to watch. Who are the players to watch on these teams? I feel like I'm going to kick it off with Wildcard. It's got to be Emo. It's just, it's got to be Emo.
Has to be. Yeah.
He's just so consistent. Like, he might not always, like, yes, he had a 1v5 ace against Knights, though they kind of fed him, but, he played that well. But, despite not necessarily being the entry, despite being a very humble player and often very unconfident player, he's just so good, like so many years on. This dude was fragging out before we had a pro league on, the old, bloody hell, what were they called? Was it Tactical Potatoes at the time? I think it was. Oh, bloody hell, it's
Tactical Potato, then Restant Potato, then no, wait.
No, he played for the Taboo. What were Taboo called before they were Taboo? GIU, yeah, he was a GI. He was a gentleman in underwear.
Yeah.
And he was quite the gentleman, and
quite a distinguished.
He's still honed his anime keyboard skills to this day. He's got to be my player to watch.
Still to this day, I'm shook that for quite a fair few of the APAC lands, Mans played on a Microsoft keyboard, like just an Office membrane keyboard, and still ended up ripping it up.
That is ridiculous.
Like, guys, remember we played on the Microsoft keyboard recently? How'd that go?
Yeah, I do remember. That was for another product though, so we'll move on from that one. In terms of player I'm watching, I mean, I was going to pick one from Wildcard as well, but
you're going to simp Milo, aren't you?
No, actually, I was going to talk about Vinny because he's not necessarily a player I'm looking at to pop off, but he's a player that I'm looking to step up. It's felt like recently he hasn't been performing at his best, and we've seen him play consistently well in specific periods. And he's not a player you look at to drop 20 kills on map and absolutely light up the kill feed, but he is a pretty integral part of the roster and the role that he does play. And unfortunately, the consistency just hasn't quite been there. And so I'm probably looking at him to step up, and I think him playing well tends to be an indicator of the roster playing well. So if Wildcard are having a bad day or two, things might not turn around too well for him either.
Very hit and miss player. The other three teams are OCL teams, or at least have been for 2 out of 3 stages this year. Overt, we've definitely kind of embraced them in OCN, and I have got quite a few players to watch on this roster. But you boys have been seeing all 3 of these, OCL former and present teams. Who are your players to watch across the board?
Logic,
surely.
You're just simping, Zenox.
Shut up, Zenox.
100%. Simp all the way. Yeah, Logic, and maybe a bit of Havoc as well.
I think Logic is also the only player across OCN and OCL to receive a warning for the player cams.
Honestly, I like that already then.
Who is? Is that Logic?
Logic.
What did he do?
They won their match. He stood up and he flipped off the cameras before he realized what he was doing.
I mean, I'm pretty certain that Jack Daddy's also received a warning for his player cam, but that's for an entirely different reason.
I remember that.
Different energy.
He almost flipped something else up that we didn't want to see. So,
we definitely don't want to see that flipped on broadcast.
No.
All right. So
of surely, I would say, like personally, Edpan. Surely.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Surely,
he's
Eddie.
nuts.
Honestly, I was going to say Sawyer. I don't know what that guy says behind the scenes, but he honestly, he's like a conductor. He makes magic happen with that team. You see him talk, and you see it in the breaks. Whatever it is that he's spouting to the boys, he was, last year the self-proclaimed Waffle King when it came to interviews and chatting with the team. But I mean, the ability that he has to turn around some of these situations and attack pauses. I'm so keen to see what he can do when it comes to crunch time.
On a more serious note, I'm very keen to see how President goes. Of course, I actually played in OCN last year, so
good storylining there from you, Jake.
Yeah, it could be a chance to return to the big leagues for him. I know he's been doing some good things on Fury, so that's one name.
Who Prez play for? Was that he played on Noble, right?
Yeah,
he wasn't. So it was the coach, wasn't he, for Noble?
No, he played for them at a certain point. Yeah.
Sawyer.
Was it?
Sorry. Yeah. Sawyer was involved with that roster, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Sawyer coached. Sketchy, who's now with Knights, analysted. Prez, he replaced. Analysted. Prez replaced Vinny, right? When Vinny went to Wildcard, Prez was the replacement, if I recall correctly. Maybe I don't. I didn't cast OCN last year, so I don't remember.
Yeah, bit of a noob. I think you were busy doing other stuff, doing inferior products, but that's all right. You're back now.
Look, I don't know what this is about Milo being Polish. I don't think Wikipedia's got that one. But Edpan is Chinese, and all the other flags. I can't see if there are any Kiwi flags there. I don't see any. Are there any
down to the bottom?
There should only be one, and it should be the coach for Overt Pants.
Right, okay.
It doesn't show the representation on the Wikipedia page, so we might need to get Nuttery to fix that.
Honestly, Nuttery needs to stop leaking stuff on Wikipedia and start actually doing his job.
What leaks, mate? What leaks?
He's got to get himself those Wikipedia points.
The leaks like Vinny going to Kraken.
Oh, yeah. What is that about? That is dog shit.
I
mean, it could be true at this point, honestly.
So the AOC Community Cup he played.
Yeah,
with
he fielding.
I heard that Vinny's going to RMIT Esports. Actually, that's the big roster.
They
change
gave him like
everyone's
six.
talking about.
He's
Like
been keeping them for the last 2 years.
6-figure salary offer is what I had last.
Oh, Nuttery's having a go, mate. Mate, Nuttery, I'll go straight above your head. Don't you worry.
No, he actually did that. So Luna, off the back of making playoffs, got enough points that she needed to get her own page, and so Nuttery did it all up. And then I made the post.
Is it that how it happens? Like when you get a certain number of points, you need to get your own player page.
There's a couple of you need to either tier 1 players automatically get one apparently. Then you need to win a certain number of D tier events or C tier events. But yeah, so she had a page made up, and then I made the post about it, saying, Luna got her page after making, top 3. And then he's like, nah, screw you, I'm redirecting it back to my own page. And poor Luna thought we were messing with her, because every time she clicked on it, the page wouldn't appear, because Nuttery went to bed without reenacting it.
Oh, no. Jeez.
Wikipedia drama, that's where it's at.
Drama.
Man's been fun.
We have PL drama, we have all the other drama now. Wikipedia is where it's at, mate.
Yeah, it's the best drama. All right, look, let's just do a final prediction. I want everyone to just predict the whole bracket, so every match through. Guzz, do you want to start?
Yeah, fuck, that first game's probably the hardest. I think Overt have improved with their OSIN exposure. So Overt over Fury, Wildcard over Big Dogs, that's easy. Then for the upper bracket final, that will be an Overt win, sending Wildcard down below. And between Big Dogs and Fury win that, and then Fury beat Wildcard. So Overt and Fury to make it through upper and lower bracket respectively.
Save you some time, I'd go with the exact same sequence of events.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Believe it or not, I'm on the exact same page as Guzz. Overt have looked so good playing in OCN. Fury look like Overt were in stage 2, so they're finding themselves in a good spot. Wildcard, honestly, you've got 2 teams that are in a very good spot mentally after a very, very successful closeout of the year, and then 2 teams who have not had the results they wanted. Mental is absolutely in the bin. And yeah, like we've talked about throughout the entire thing, whoever loses, good chance there's going to be 1, if not 2, possible disbandings coming through.
I want to see the wild card versus Big Dogs, a battle of the chalked mental. I mean, jokes aside, on game day they'll step it up. Cthulhu, what do you reckon?
Oh, look, I'll be the one to probably bite the biggest L out of all the predictions, but I'm gonna go with Fury over Overt, but in the closest absolute matchup, all 3 maps overtime. Wildcard Big Dogs. Yeah, I'll give Big Dogs the dub. Yeah.
Overt or Wildcard getting first rounded.
Yeah, and then obviously Big Dogs get rolled by Overt. And yeah, so essentially Fury and Overt into the promos.
Right, so Wildcard getting first rounded.
Yeah.
There you go. You've made a friends of Shaq. You were being a bit of an OCL simp, but look, I respect it. I feel like because everyone, it
has to be a Russian to be the villain. It has to be the Russian. So.
The bald Russian.
Might as well roll with it.
Look, honestly, guys, as soon as you filled out yours, I was like, no, that is exactly what I think is going to happen. I can see a world where Fury beat it, but that's kind of more just my instinct admitting that I don't know Fury well enough to convincingly, decisively say that they will lose that.
I will say, I'm pretty torn on the Fury Overt game. I just think that Overt having that OCN exposure will help them. But that said, I think even if Fury, in a world they do win that game, the end result's going to be the same. Overt just make the lower bracket run, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah,
well, that's why I say that Fury will, if they win, it's only off the back of the closest scoreline. There's no way.
Yeah.
If Fury will pull off something like 7-3s and I don't know 7-2s, I will literally run across the whole building complex that I live in butt naked and film it on Twitter. Watch me.
Someone clip it.
Clip it and ship it.
Look, I'll go and work the camera. It's only an hour and a half drive. I'd take that.
Oh Jesus!
We got to get.
This one excuse to see Cthulhu running around naked.
Bro, I just want to be able to go and hang out and have a beer. Honestly, it's just lockdown is shit.
Are you guys still in lockdown?
Yeah, we're both
Bloody
currently
hell.
locked down. We moved to the new traffic light system on Monday, which I still don't know how it works. But yeah, Overt Fury is such a coin toss. My brain's just gone. I mean, this new Fury roster, you've got President, who is the longest running member of the team. You've got Quiz, who joined Stage 1 playoffs. And honestly, the guy was just pumping out numbers here in Stage 3. Literally, the number of 1vx clutches and plays that he made was insane. Tuhan, who was last stage's kill leader, he went 129 to 72 with a plus 57 by the end of Stage 2.
Jeez.
You've then got Deptra, who brings some, maturity to the roster, having already had that Tier 1 experience. And then you've got the Sage Blood coming through. Old Sagion's younger brother, Brendo, rounding out the roster.
If he comes from the same womb as Sage, I reckon he can do anything, honestly.
If you've got the same work ethic, yeah.
Send him.
Honestly, it was the same camera angle for player, like him and Sage use the exact same camera angle for player cams.
It's in the blood.
Are they actually related?
Yeah, so Brenda is Sagion's younger brother.
That's the second fraternity that we've had in Rainbow Six O's, because we had Joey and Geo. Joey's now retired, but
we forgot,
the good old Lanciana brothers.
So but the real question is, who's better? Is it Sage or Brendo?
Brendo, he's taken the time to figure out this role. But I mean, coming into the end of Stage 3, he was looking so much more comfortable than his first couple of matches.
Fair.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool storyline if they verse each other in an official someday.
That'd be sick.
I definitely think that Brendo could put out a heater. Definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was going to say, I pretty much agree with what you said, Guzz. Overt win over Fury, Wildcard win over Big Dogs, Overt win over Wildcard, Fury win over Big Dogs, Fury win over Wildcard, and then Overt and Fury go through. There is a world where Wildcard get out, though, and I think that us talking so down of Wildcard, like, obviously it's warranted considering where our expectation was, because our expectation was here, and they were here. But I still believe that they could end here. Like, they could end just above getting relegated. It's definitely possible.
I think there's a world in which Wildcard beat Fury. I'm not saying that's all likely to happen. I probably would still predict Fury, but it's not like it would be out of the realms of possibility.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a question of how much they care coming into this, because, I mean, you're facing relegations in APAC South, you're facing relegations in OCN. At some point there has to be the call. Do we just throw in the towel? We go, we play it, yeah, cool, whatever, and then we go look elsewhere. So I genuinely wonder if maybe that's what we could see out of Wildcard. Either they come in looking to, deny a place for someone else, or they just go and they don't care. They know that they're probably going to disband at the end of the year, and they just play the game.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, since I'm getting roasted in the chat by Logic, who's taking this very personally, I think like that.
I wouldn't worry, Dev. The guy hasn't made his team unfortunately hasn't made a grand finals this year.
Well, this
saving strats, mate. Saving strats.
Saving strats for Relos.
Yeah.
Wildcard Big Dogs, right? Like, that is, we're memeing it, but like it's a game of attitude. It's like, what attitude are you going into this game? Is this like you're just gonna be like, yeah, throw everything at the wall? Is this, do you not give a crap? Like, do you are you complacent? Are you unmotivated? Like, these are the things that's going to make the difference.
I think that match is very much going to set the tone for the rest of the bracket. I mean, obviously, I'm just going to assume, I don't know the schedule, I'm assuming that'll be the second game.
I think so.
And normally you would say, the first match would set the tone, but I think it's more so going to be that second one, because I think we've established now it's likely Overt Fury going to be pretty close, and no matter the result, either team can make that run. Whereas for Wildcard and Big Dogs, I think it's going to be pretty evident after the first few rounds, maybe even the first map, like who's actually here to win, or who's just taking
It also depends on whether or not Chak has his chat key enabled through, throughout the entire run. Because last time he played through a promotion opportunity, we saw What a Breeze come through, and we all know how that went.
I don't know.
Assuming it wasn't a breeze.
They won was map 1 Consulate. What a Breeze. They then got.
Oh, was that
I remember
the
that.
images that precede unfortunate
preceding
events?
unfortunate events.
Yeah. I remember that now.
One of Shaq's great takes. That one.
That was a funny one.
All right, that pretty much rounds out Relos. Relos are going to be held next weekend, and I'm really excited to do that.
Isn't it this weekend?
Well, this coming weekend, yeah. So the next weekend coming to that.
He keeps saying it so Zenox knows. It's just
He
reinforcing.
keeps saying, no, hang on a second. Today's a
Saturday
Monday.
the 27th and Sunday the 28th. In a couple of
That's
days.
this weekend.
Fine, whatever, mate. So sue me. Yeah, look, I'm keen for that. I think that's going to be good. And then look, coming up after, you might have noticed on Twitter an article from Snowball. There's been some announcements about the OCN finals, including the OCN season finals schedule that has been announced. So, since we've really talked about Relos, obviously after that we'll have the top 4 teams in OCN, the top 4 from the region, be looking for that number 1 spot, fighting for the rest of the prize money and that 100k that was set aside at the start of the year. I'm actually so pumped for this. We're going to be doing some really exciting different things. We've gone to a single elimination format, keeping in the spirit of the gauntlet format, being no second chances. It's 2 BO3 semi-finals on the Saturday, December 11th. This is not next weekend, or this weekend. This is the one further on in December. Obviously, Chiefs Ruffle and Bliss Knights, the winners of which will play the grand final on Sunday Arvo. December 12th, that's the Sunday, the grand final day. We have some really exciting stuff coming up that I am so stoked for. We've got a charity match. We're going to be supporting the Foundation for National Parks and Wildlife, which is the first time OCN and Ubisoft Australia through Rainbow Six has really supported a nature charity. And so I'm really excited for that. We also have the OCN Awards.
Here we
Is
go.
this $15,000 like winner takes all?
No. I mean, I don't remember the exact prize pool and distribution, but
So I'm
you're
just
really
looking at
putting me on the
Wikipedia.
spot there.
This on
Wikipedia,
Wikipedia,
mate.
Dev.
Nuttery,
bloody
mate.
hell,
You've made
don't
another
trust
mistake.
Nuttery, mate.
Jesus.
Well, basically, to me, this
It's-
just looks like a Rexian ripoff.
It's 25 grand in prizing, 15,000 to the first place, but second and third place.
The difference is we
and
don't have
fourth
fun
place
here.
also
We don't have fun here.
Hey,
We
if
don't.
I can cancel your flights if you want. We're gonna go.
Is
to
there a
Sydney
reason
for
why
this.
Bliss are playing in this one, but they couldn't play?
I'll just
in,
walk.
the
I'll just walk.
Rexian?
If I start walking now, I might make it in time.
Well, I was gonna say I'm excited to finally.
Okay, apparently
get
it's not
to-
Nuttery's fault on that one. He didn't do
Ah,
it. The one entry that he didn't make.
Now he's just shifting the blame.
Is this also the Bliss versus Knights matchup? Is that a best of 3?
Yep.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, good luck, Repix. Good luck, Oda.
Nah, that's a real shame, isn't it? Knights get a free win.
Honestly, they should be beating
They're
Knights.
getting a lot of
Come on,
BO3
they're
practice
favourites
in
there.
before
Honestly,
I
if
take
Bliss,
Rellos.
Honestly?
jokes aside, if Bliss fucking lose this against a weakened Knights who may or may not be playing with the sub, I don't give a fuck what you say. Bliss can't win a best of 3. Like that is the nail in the coffin of that storyline, and we'd never have to talk about it again.
They should actually just be winning this solely on the fact to shut us up.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, I mean,
Who cares what happens in the final at that point?
They're hating us saying this right now, but I hope it's just burning a fire inside them to prove us wrong. We want to
Jokes on
be
you,
proven.
Todd might not be playing. Oh well, your chances of winning have just
sheesh.
increased.
Yeah, maybe Todd's the problem, Oda. Have you thought about that?
That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke. Don't tweet about me. All right, it's just a joke.
Oh, Repic's not enjoying this one.
reasons it's a joke.
I will say one last thing. OCN Awards at 3:30 p.m. ADT on the Sunday. I am very, very excited for the OCN Awards. I know some people, they might be like, well, what's this? We've never done this before. Is this just something that's been tacked on at the end? No, this is something that like we really wanted to do. This is something that we've been working really hard on. It's going to feel special. I know that
Do we have to wear suits or something? Because I don't want to wear a suit.
Yeah, you have to wear something at least.
Okay, I'm not wearing a suit. I'm just putting that out there.
Put on some jandals.
Get the
Well,
Crocs
feet-
out.
Wearing his KFC
Are our
tracksuit.
feet going to be in frame? I might. Maybe.
We'll have to figure that out. with you as well.
Crocs. What about Crocs? Do you reckon they would?
I actually,
suit? Actually, I might.
reckon- I think.
low key.
I actually think. No joke. Here's a bit of a spoiler into what I think we were thinking for the broadcast. Was like overly formal top half, super like beach rocking up at the beach bottom half was what we were thinking.
It's like the Manic Monday.
Yeah, the Manic aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. The news reporter.
Business at the top, party at the back. That's the
read
Manic
that.
Monday motto.
I read that.
But yeah, the OCN Awards is going to be a lot of fun. We've got a bunch of categories, 5 different categories, including MVP of the Year, Entertainer of the Year, Play of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and Support of the Year. The voting online with the community vote's already gone out of that. The players have also done their vote. That's not public. The casters and Ubisoft have also done their votes. So the winners have been determined and they will be announced at that. And we'll get some interviews with the winners and some other exciting stuff that I can't talk about. So Make sure you tune in on that. That is December 12th and 11th. Obviously, OCL finals is coming up soon. We'll get to see who's the OCL season 2021 champion. But our attention at the moment is very much on what's coming up this weekend, which is, you're welcome, Zenox, which is OCN OCL promo relegations. Who's going to be in OCN 22 next year? We're going to find out after that happens.
Before you throw away from that, have you confirmed the talent for this weekend?
Well, I have confirmed it. I don't know if we've announced it. I don't know whether we wanna keep it secret or announce it now. I don't know.
Is though, that's so.
What do you guys
I can tell you
think?
this: Manic's not going to be there.
What?
To get the OGs, Amphley's coming back.
I think you should just say it now, Dev. Honestly.
What does everyone else in the call think? Should we announce it now, or should we do
I'm not
it
in
hard
charge.
announce
I'm
on
not in
Twitter?
charge of social.
I'm just getting the vibe of the room.
I'm not going to lose my job. If you leak this, you're the one that gets in trouble.
I'm getting the vibe of the room. Do we want to do a soft announce now and then a hard announce on Twitter later, or
send it?
I like it soft and hard. So
all right, so we're going to do a soft
Cheeky
announce right
breeky.
now. The talent for the OCN promotion relegations is going to be the one and only
Amphley.
Zenox, joined by Guzz, Dev Marta, Manic Monday, of course, on top of
Really?
Cthulhu ANZ and Bluepanda casts, your OCL
Let's go.
favorites. We get to get you guys on board for Relos. I'm really stoked for that. Now I get to ask you the same question I've already asked, but framed differently. Are you excited for OCL and OCN relegations to actually cast it?
Yes.
Look,
Very much.
No, they're not.
I was stoked to be getting the opportunity to watch the OCL boys play, but to be able to cast it as well, it's pretty huge.
I'm just waiting for Nuttery to update the Wikipedia
Oh,
page.
no.
He's going to change it within 5 seconds.
An
updating.
opportunity for him to pick up out Wikipedia points. Bro, he was ready. As soon as he said, do we do an announcement, he had edit online.
It's actually up already now. He's done it.
No, he hasn't.
No,
No,
sure.
no,
I'm sure it'll be done within the next 5 minutes. But yeah, I mean, to those of you who are paying astute attention, there you go. It's a bit of a sneak announcement. We'll get the official one on Twitter, no doubt, during the week. And
I'm not even joking, by the way.
Oh, God, he actually has. Holy shit.
Oh my God. I bet-
Bloody hell.
Holy crap.
I wouldn't be surprised if it queued it up so you could queue up
Maybe it was
changes.
rumored,
Yeah.
rumored changes, rumored
Rumored
caster moves. Anyway, it should be a fantastic time. That pretty much rounds out everything. It sounds like the general vibe of the room is it's Fury and Overt, the Stage 1 and Stage 2 OCL champions who will go forth into 2022 for OCN, and Wildcard and Big Dogs will miss out. But you're going to have to find out. Oh no, Nuttery has deleted my page.
He will have relocated.
Oh,
it.
someone mentioned Elfish guy in chat. Can we ban him?
What he will have done, he will have set it to so it just goes to his page instead.
I'm going to create my own Wikipedia with Blackjack and Hookers, so, whatever, man. Whatever, Nuttery. Shoot your best shot. Yeah, OCN, OCL relegations are this weekend, and that is why you should type into the chat OCN relegations. Panda, we just lost you. You just disappeared into the ether. Type into the chat OCN. Oh, sorry. Type into what is it again? It's relegations weekend, and
Guys,
you
I
will
think-
be in the draw.
I think Nattery, instead of deleting Dev's page, will
Yeah, you
delete
actually-
the Panda's connection.
Maybe.
This
So-
is how dead.
What I'm trying to say, relegations weekend, chuck that in the
Yes.
chat. You're going to be
Relegations.
eligible for this giveaway, the final giveaway of the night. 1,200 R6 credits on the line. I'm guessing Blue's internet's died or something, so he'll be back on
That
C pedals
would have been there, yeah.
fast enough. But yep, last giveaway. Of course, we'll have all kinds of stuff going on over the relegations weekend, and then we're going to take a bit of a break from Reload. And Reload will be back before OCN Finals. So the OCN Finals is on December 11th and 12th. That means that the Reload episode will be on the 7th of December. So make sure you also tune into that one. What times this weekend, by the way? I don't know, mate. On Twitter.
We'll be doing the hard announcement later in the week, Nuttery, and of course that will have further details.
Thank you very much, Zenox.
No worries.
All right, we're drawing the
You should
giveaway.
get a marketing job, Jake.
Honestly, I should
You should get a real job.
I should
Maybe
get
one
a real
day.
job at this point.
Maybe
Actually,
one
at
day.
this point, I probably wouldn't even get paid enough, to be honest.
You would
In the big
probably.
bucks, mate. Do you know how much Rec GM pays me? Oh, you don't want to know.
That's getting
Too
paid.
much, right?
All
Too
right,
much.
Lufa. 666 has won the giveaway. You got to type something in chat though. If you don't, I will have to re-roll. You got 33 seconds to do so. Otherwise, chat is calling for the re-roll.
Don't forget, by the way, Dev, that you've got to provide me with my credits if you want to send that through on Discord. Now my platform is PC.
Thanks, good to know. All right, Lufa is indeed here. Lufa, congrats, you've won the giveaway. That's 1,200 R6 credits for you. And whatever platform you play on, PC, PS4, or PlayStation, could be any of the PlayStations.
Up the Lufa.
Or Xbox.
Has Oda ever won? I'm pretty sure Repix has won a code pack, but I don't think Oda has.
Definitely sent a couple of the Bliss guys credit codes. Lufa, send a Twitch whisper to Rainbow Six ANZ. Let me know what platform you would like the codes for, and I'll send that to you after the stream.
Look at Repix. He's still trying to put in Relegations weekend after the role has already been given away.
Man.
What are you doing, mate?
He just
Come
wants
on.
his,
You look like you're just down bad at the moment.
Just wants his R6 credits.
I just got confirmation.
Why don't you
Blue as
win
well,
season
offline.
finals and you can get quite a lot of credits with that?
I wonder if we can.
Have to win a best of 3.
Let me try. Let me have a look here. We might have. Oh no, unfortunately, I don't have the 4cam set up with Bluepanda not in there. So
I'll find a picture of a panda and you can quickly add it into the scene. Let me just.
That
find
is way
something.
too much effort, mate. We're about to close the show.
Save image as. There you go. You just got to add it into your OBS. Don't worry about doing the mask. I can forgive you.
Better yet. Here's a blue pog for you. Just chuck.
Oh
it
yeah,
out.
that.
Oh
image
yeah,
is
give me a blue.
Oh no,
pop.
he's actually back. We
We're
don't
back.
have to do that anymore.
Panda, are you in?
We're seeing his.
Maybe he's not.
Can I just say, by the way, James, you might like this one. We are the top Rainbow Six stream at the moment.
Really?
That's
Hello,
both
everyone.
good and kind of sad at the same time. So take of it as you will. If you want, we could go and host Jess. She's over in the 4th slot.
Don't worry. I already got a host lined up, mate.
Oh, you got to go host lined up.
Oh, I
Who's it gonna
did,
be?
but she's changed game. Oh well, I had a backup host lined up.
What a shame. I'm gonna find one for you. All right.
Mate, I already have a host lined up.
No. I'm gonna find one for you, mate.
Hey, Panda, are you there?
They have to be playing Siege. Are they playing Siege?
Yes, they have to be playing Siege.
Yes.
I've got one. I've got an Australian playing Siege currently on 50
Put it in the
viewers.
chat, but don't call it out because then I'm going to look like a dog if I don't do it. And I already had decided on another one. So
That's fine. All right. Hey, I'll chuck it in the team chat.
Nice.
There you go. Added you at it.
yeah,
I think we've seen this bloke before.
This is a good one. I have hosted them before, but I already had someone else I was going to host who is an Aussie.
I'm back.
Panda, yes,
There we
he's
go.
back.
There
Just
we
in
go.
time to say goodbye. I think we've stalled for long enough. Panda, any final thoughts on relegations this weekend?
Look, I'm nothing more than I'm absolutely excited to be there. I don't know what the hell happened to my internet just now. It's the first time it's ever happened in the 3-4 years we've been living at this place.
Don't let it happen again.
Yeah, look,
If that happens during relegations, you will not be paid. We'll just make that very clear. You will be dropped.
No, we'll just do it Cthulhu, then I'll go check out my rural mate's place and use his country internet.
Yeah, mate. Look, this is a
Look, I
privilege
wouldn't
of
say
coming
no.
onto Reload. We don't want you to just misbehaving like that, man. So pick it up. I always knew Cthulhu was the better caster anyway. So
I've been saying that since the
Now
start.
that's cap. That's cap and a half.
Look, I can't cast in 2 languages.
that's true. Not few can. Cthulhu, that's something you hold over the rest of us. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching this weekend. We have Relegations. Make sure you tune in. It's on this channel, Rainbow Six ANZ. We're going to find out which teams are playing in OCN next year, whether Wildcard can complete the full circle of going from bad to worse to relegated,
Up Fury.
whether Fury and Overt will revisit their rivalry, whether Big Dogs will disband or not. We're going to find out this weekend. Us 5 will be there alongside Manic Monday. We're going to have a blast, so be there or be square. And if you're down for a little bit more rainbow, we're going to be raiding a local Australian streamer called Rice. So I hope you guys enjoy chilling
When one
out
rice
with
is not
all
enough.
of Rice.
That's my boy.
Altered Zelios player.
That's
go.
my boy.
Fury Sunday, by
Anyhow,
the way.
guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Boy.